your numbers there. Just got to wait for the technology to sync up. So camera, laptop, another YouTube device on the other side of the room. So I need to make sure they're all working, all going fine. Just bear with me a moment. Get rid of the adverts here. And then we will get on with tonight's live chat. Hopefully that is now all working. It is. Fabulous. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Brooksy's Based Corner. This is live chat number 26. We've done 26 of these. You're very welcome wherever you are. Thank you very much for tuning in. A slightly different live chat tonight, and I'll get to the reason why shortly. If you've never either come to my channel or you've never participated in a live chat before, don't be scared off. We're all friends here and you're most welcome. The way the live chat thing works is if you're on a mobile device, you're watching in the video window, underneath is a live chat window where you can type comments. And if you've got anything to say, anything you want to contribute, any questions, stick it in there. As soon as I see it in here in the chat window, I'll respond to it as quick as I can. Also, if you've never done a live chat or been part of one, you don't know how this kind of all works. It's basically a bit of a free-for-all. It's like getting down to a coffee shop with your friends and talking for as long as you care to do. You can sit there and just watch, or you can interact and be part of it. You're more than welcome whichever way you wish to participate. One of the things we have here on live chat is where you're looking at the video, in the chat window, the live chat window. So if you're on the mobile app, it's below. If you're on the desktop app, it'll be to your right. You'll see an emoji icon in the window. So you can add emojis to the chat, thumbs up, smiley faces, all of that kind of thing. You can also contribute to this channel. You can do this with any YouTube channel, but obviously on our live chat, next to the emoji icon, you'll see a $sign. It's called Super Chat. So if you enjoy this video, enjoy the live chat. If you enjoyed what's on the channel, if you're a regular participant here, by clicking on that $sign allows you to make a financial contribution to the channel. So all these nice guitars and amplifiers and pedals and bass products you see here, I pay for all those. So for the reviews and the demos, the financial contributions help to go towards those. They help to buy the equipment and the cameras and the lighting and the PCs and the laptops and all of that. They also allow with booking studio time for doing videos. So if you wish to make a financial contribution, you may do so, and it is very much appreciated. If you don't want to do it on the live chat and you want to check out my channel a bit further over the next day, maybe this evening or in a couple of weeks or what have you, every video here on my channel is monetized. So underneath any video on a monetized channel, you have an array of icons. You've got the thumbs up, thumbs down, share, watch later, save. You'll also see a love heart with a dollar symbol. That's called super thanks. So if you enjoy a particular video or the work a particular creator is producing, or say you come onto YouTube to find the answer to a problem, or say your washing machine's broken down, you're not sure why, you might come onto YouTube, check out the videos, you might find a reason why your washing machine's broken down. If that video helps to save you a couple of £100 in engineer fees, you might wish to contribute to that creator and his channel. So you hit the super thanks button, you can donate financially to the channel. That's how that part works. So to all the people, I can already see there's quite a few of you on here, so you are more than welcome, and good evening wherever you are in the world. This is a bass channel. We talk about bass guitars, bass amps, pedals, accessories, bass gods, John Taylor. You know where I'm going with this. So that's kind of what we normally do here on our live chats. However, I've tried to do a script for tonight and I had to throw it in the bin because I realized this could get very ad hoc, and trying to follow the script isn't going to work. So we do live chats every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, London town here in the UK, going out around the world. We have people from America and the Middle East and the Far East and Australia and Europe contributing to these live chats, contributing to the channel. So Saturday, just gone, I was on a gig really looking forward to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Duran Duran are being inducted. We've waited long enough for that to happen. And actually, I should say, anyone that's tuning in who's a bass player, and you're thinking, well, where's all the bass chat, Mike? You're going to have to indulge me this week because we're talking about one of my favourite bands. There will be bass chat, and certainly if you wish to contribute bass chat, and if you've got equipment that's breaking down, or you want to talk how we normally talk here on Brooksy's Bass Corner, please contribute that, and I will go through all the messages and I will catch up as we go through. But anyway, Saturday night I was on a gig. I'd been away from home for a couple of days. Was driving home, got home around 3 a.m. In America, that would have been 10 o'clock. East Coast would have been 7 o'clock, I guess, LA time. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductions in Los Angeles. And I thought, okay, it's going to be too late. Nothing's going to happen until the early hours and I need to sleep. So I went to sleep. I woke up on Sunday morning, quickly went on to Facebook, and the very first post on my phone, I hadn't even managed to see, I was going through various Duran pages, but I hadn't even got that far. Literally the first thing that came up in my feed on Facebook on Sunday morning said, "A note from Andy Taylor." Now you guys, if you're Duran Duran fans, know where I'm going with this. And I thought, okay. I was really excited because not only were one of my favourite bands finally being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Lord knows the fans of the band have been chasing for this for years and years, decades probably. And I was really excited at the fact that not only was Andy Taylor going to be on stage with Duran, but also Warren Cucurullo. So you're going to have basically the three guitar players who've pretty much sat in that seat. So you'd have Andy, Warren, and Don Brown, who's a personal friend. And I thought, this is going to be great. It's a once in a lifetime thing. Can't wait to watch this. And before I left the venue where I was playing on Saturday, I quickly checked my Facebook, and people were in the audience at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame were saying, "Andy's here, but he's not well. No one's seen Warren." I'm like, okay. Then other people were saying, "Oh, my friend's backstage," and they're saying Andy isn't there. Right. And someone else said, "Oh no, Andy's here and he's been rehearsing and he's going to be getting up." It's the same Duran Duran fan thing that we get, Chinese whispers. So who's talking sense here? So the very first message I see on my Facebook is a note from Andy. So for anyone who's coming onto the live chat, doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about, let me read you the letter that Andy Taylor sent to Duran Duran. None of us know whether they knew in advance. I'm guessing they may have known for a while. Maybe they weren't prepared for the severity of the announcement. Maybe they didn't get the letter till the day. Let me read it to you. For those who've read it and know the content, I'm really sorry, but I need to kind of do this so that everyone knows what the hell I'm talking about. And they may have seen the thumbnails and the title of this live chat and go, what's that all about? So let me read you Andy Taylor's letter to Duran Duran and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Whew, this should be fun. Bear with me a second, guys. Dear Simon, John, Roger, Nick, my fellow inductees and countrymen, I wanted to send you a personal note to pass along my sincerest respect to you all for what's been an amazing career, and to also share what has happened to me. Firstly, can I say what an absolute honour it was to be nominated, let alone be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's nothing that comes close to such recognition. I'm proud of everything we've achieved together and of the way you have continued. As a guitar player in a progressive band from the synth days of the early 80s, literally from the day I met Nick, John, Simon and Roger, they truly valued the contribution of a rather noisy, versatile northern brat. We all grew up on the same vinyl records and live gigs, from David Bowie to Roxy Music, the Sex Pistols and of course Chic. I could go to all those places as a player, and developed a hybrid guitar style that fitted this amazing concept of a band. I love going into the studio and recording our material. Nobody else sounded like us. We were ripe to absorb what was the art of analog recording, but with some different kit. Nick's artful obsession with synth technology was something I'd never seen before, and I was introduced to layers. Because we were instinctively the right fit, we evolved very quickly, writing Rio as our second album with the confidence our very early success with Girls on Film and Planet Earth inspired. You can dream about what happened to us, but to experience it on one's own terms as mates was beyond incredible. I would like to thank each of my brothers in this great band, my family, my incredibly sane wife of 40 years, Tracy, my amazing children, Andy, Georgie, Bethy and Izzy, not forgetting my grandson, Albie, who's probably online listening or on Fortnite. The original believers, Paul and Michael Barrow, Dave Ambrose, Terry Slater and Rob Hallett. The producers, Colin Thurston, Alex Sadkin, Bernard Edwards and Niall Rogers. I've also really dug the work with Mark Ronson. I particularly admire All You Need Is Now. That's a Duran Duran melody if ever I heard one. Thanks also to Merck, Andrew and Wendy. Now for the bad blood. Well, the good news is that there is none. Just pure love and respect for everything we wrote, recorded and achieved together. What's the point? There's no stopping this 44-year thing called Duran Duran. Now to the reason I'm not here. Just over 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer. Many families have experienced the slow burn of this disease, and of course, we are no different. So I speak from the perspective of a family man, but with profound humility to the band, the greatest fans a group could have, and this exceptional accolade. Putting the teeth back in. I have the Rogers and Edwards of doctors and medical treatment that until very recently allowed me to just rock on. Although my current condition is not immediately life-threatening, there is no cure. Recently, I was doing okay after some very sophisticated life-extending treatment. That was until a week or so ago when I suffered a setback. And despite the exceptional efforts of my team, I had to be honest in that both physically and mentally, I would be pushing my boundaries. However, none of this needs to or should detract from what this band, with or without me, has achieved and sustained for 44 years. We've had a privileged life. We were a bit naughty, but really nice. A bit shirty, but very well dressed. A bit full of ourselves because we had a lot to give. But as I've said many times, when you feel that collective, instinctive, kindred spirit of creativity mixed with ambition, armed with an uber cool bunch of fans, well, what could possibly go wrong? I'm truly sorry and massively disappointed I couldn't make it. Let there be no doubt I was stoked about the whole thing. I even bought a new guitar with the essential whammy. I'm so very proud of these four brothers. I'm amazed at their durability and I'm overjoyed at accepting this award. I often doubted the day would come. I'm sure as hell glad I'm around to see the day. All my love, Andy Taylor. So, Andy Taylor has got stage 4 prostate cancer. And the reason I wanted to do this on tonight's live chat is too often we have idols, musical heroes, people we look up to, people who inspired us to become musicians, for those of us who do. And they don't get any accolades or the plaudits they deserve until they die. A perfect example for me would be Freddie Mercury. So Freddie died 31 years ago. The guy has received more awards and plaudits since he died than when he died. So my view on this at the moment is while Andy's still alive and with us, I think we should celebrate everything he created with Duran Duran and all the other projects he's worked on, all the other artists he's worked with. And I just thought a lot of the Duran Duran fans are a bit in limbo now. We thought we were going to be celebrating this great high of the band getting the award and seeing the band members all on stage together, and we didn't get it. So as disappointing as that is, Andy's health is far more important. But I just wanted to create something this evening for Duran Duran fans, Andy Taylor fans. You may be an Andy Taylor fan and not be a Duran fan. I just wanted to open this up And if you've got anything you want to say about Duran, anything about Andy, if you're really upset and you just want to vent a bit, feel free. You're amongst like-minded people, as far as I'm concerned. I won't tolerate nonsense. So if we start getting people who are keyboard warriors looking to start an argument, you'll be removed. But otherwise, this is a Duran Duran loving, an Andy Taylor loving. Certainly if you want to talk about John Taylor, this is a bass channel. So you are more than welcome to talk about JT. You might want to talk about Andy and John, how they work together, Power Station. I've created a poll, which I will now put live for you guys if you want to get involved. What's your favourite Duran Duran album featuring Andy Taylor? I've only included the studio albums because the poll on YouTube would only allow 4 options, but that is there. So I think it's at the top of the live chat window. You can click on it, put your vote in. We'll have a look throughout the evening, see how that's developing. So if you're just joining us, this is Brooksy's Bass Corner. I'm Mike Brooks. Tonight is live chat number 26. It's a special one tonight. So we're commemorating the life and work of Andy Taylor. He hasn't passed away. He's still here with us. But rather than leave all the celebrations of his life and work till a time down the road when he passes away, let's celebrate it now. So if you've got anything you'd like to contribute in terms of talking about Andy, his material, the songs he's recorded, his work with Duran Duran, his work with Robert Palmer, Power Station, Rod Stewart, Belinda Carlisle, his own solo albums. I mean, the guy is a musical force. I've actually been very fortunate. I met him once, which was at HMV in Oxford Street here in London, which was for the release of Sunrise, the single, just prior to the launch of Astronaut in 2004. And he was lovely. I had about 40 seconds to talk to him, and he was great. Saw him live twice, which would have been the reunion tour in 2004. Saw him at Wembley Arena, and saw him a year later, December 2005 at Earl's Court here in London. I remember buying my tickets in December 2003 for the reunion shows. I went to Wembley Arena to buy my tickets. I came home on the bus and I cried my eyes out because I knew I was finally going to get to see that band with the original lineup. Get a bit choked, shouldn't do that. So I got to see the band that, for me, growing up, so it's Duran Duran and Queen for me. Adam and the Ants were also a band. Obviously, they didn't last too long. So I've been a fan of Duran since February 81. I was 8 years old. I remember seeing Planet Earth and all the Top of the Pops, Swap Shop, all the kids' programs that the band appeared on. I go back that far. Duran Duran are the reason I'm a musician. When I saw the Reflex video, that was it. My mind was made up. That's what I'm going to do for a living for the rest of my life. Here we are. I'm 50 years old, a professional bass player. So I have so much to be grateful to them for. And yeah, I just think the guy deserves some respect and some kudos. And I thought I'd open up tonight's live chat to share some love. He hasn't died. He hasn't passed away. No one knows how long he's got, but it's terminal. So rather than wait until the guy passes away, highly unlikely he'll ever see this. He may do. I don't know. Obviously, if he goes on YouTube and he searches for Andy Taylor live chats, he might come across this. So Andy, if you ever see this in your life, thank you. I owe you lots. I worked or have worked with quite a few rock guitarists who really admired Andy, and whether they were kids or professional musicians coming through the 80s, Andy was the reason they heard Duran Duran. That caught their ear. Andy's guitar playing was very different to a lot of the guitar players around that time. He wasn't an out and out, or his playing certainly wasn't out and out rock, but it gave Duran Duran an edge that a lot of the other bands that had synths and were doing that kind of thing in the early 80s, it set them apart. Always caught my ear. The band has been very different since Andy left, and I'll admit in '86 when it was announced he was leaving, I was like, oh, I hadn't been through that with a band. I hadn't been a fan of a band where band members left, and you're left with what's left. And '86 was a strange time, very strange time. I'm going to quickly go into the live chat here because I can see messages are pinging up all the time. So I'll go into that. But so this is live chat number 26 here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. Special live chat for Andy Taylor. Duranies of the world, you're welcome here. It's normally a bass channel here. We talk basses. We talk John Taylor very often. So if you're a Duran fan, you want to contribute some bass chat, you want to talk about John Taylor, you can. I just wanted to give us a place to chat since the news broke of Andy's cancer diagnosis on Saturday. Having seen all the various social media groups and pages, everyone's very upset, understandably. And I think people need some way of expressing what they want to talk in a friendly way. Too many times you see on Facebook pages and Instagram channels and what have you, people start getting arsey and a bit argumentative and start chucking conversational bombs in, and we don't do any of that here. You want to come here? We're all friends, okay? So let's just have a look, and I will give shout outs to those of you who are out there. If you've got an appreciation of any of the material that Andy's ever played on, it doesn't have to be Duran Duran, it might be Power Station, it could be Robert Palmer, it could be Rod Stewart, it might be his production work with Thunder. As I recall, he said to Ben Matthews of Thunder, "You've got my job." It's the job Andy wanted, was second guitarist in Thunder. As it was, he ended up being the producer, but hey, they didn't do too badly. Right, Stacey, North Carolina, hey, good evening. Birthday girl as well. Birthday girl, Stacey from North Carolina. It's your birthday, it's your birthday. Mark Williams, hi, welcome Mark. Fanfret Steve, hi. I think you came onto my live chat on Friday, I think it was, when we did live chat from the Drill in Lincoln when I was doing a Queen tribute show. If so, welcome sir, hope you're well. Nutter Butter, hello from Tennessee, you are welcome sir. Mark Williams, hey. Stacey, hi Nutter Butter, Stacey, you are in North Carolina, you're going to become famous at this rate. Who expected to hear this horrible news, yet how he summarised the band's accomplishments and their grit, determination and creativity is all his love. Yeah. Andy's been, I guess we all appreciate his reasons for leaving Duran, and he wanted to do his thing. Artistically butting heads with Nick a lot, but guitars and keys, I've seen it happen in bands. I've actually been in bands where the guitarist and the keyboard player just can't find a happy ground. So I do understand that dynamic. G-Pack, hi, Gary. Yeah, born in 87, but I got a lot of time for Duran Duran. Sad, sad news. This t-shirt is from 87, sir. It's from the Strange Behaviour tour. 87. My very first gig, Wembley Arena. The middle night of the three. I went on the Tuesday. Blew my mind, my favourite band, along with Queen. And I had wanted to see Duran when they came to Scotland in 83. I was too young, parents weren't willing to go to Edinburgh. I didn't get to see them till 87. That's my Duran life story. Yeah, sad. It is sad news, man. It is really a shame. And actually, I have to say, we were in that era. We had this at Bass Guitar magazine back in 2015, 2016, when every day there was someone famous, whether artist, musician, actor, actress, all these celebrities were passing away. Billy Sheehan summed it up fairly well. He said, "We have been in this rich corridor of talent since the 60s. You could say the 50s, where music exploded. And we're now getting to a point where those people we appreciated and were inspired by are at that age. Get prepared." And I think now we're going to be going into that second wave. And I remember thinking about a year or so ago, at some point, someone in Duran is not going to be around. And it's a wake-up call for those of us who've hit 50. I've hit 50 this year. It shaped you. The only thing that kind of has stopped me melting down a bit over this is the fact that I went through all this with Freddie Mercury in 91. And I didn't really pay attention to all the headlines in 89, 90, 91. Clearly there was something wrong with Fred, but you didn't want to go on press rumours. And then I was away at university and didn't have a TV, so wasn't seeing the news every day, what have you. And then on the 23rd of November, 91, Fred made his announcement. I've got AIDS, work with me to try and beat this. Next day he was gone. So for those of us who are Queen fans or love the work of Queen and Freddie, I've been in that position for the best part of 31 years, when one of your idols who you absolutely adore and are especially inspired by dies. Okay, Andy's a little bit older, and some may argue his best work was with Duran. That's for people to discuss. However, for someone of my age, Duran was so inspiring at the time. You owe that guy a debt of thanks, and certainly as a musician. Andy's guitar playing was a point of reference that, having been a professional musician myself for 27 years, it's kind of a yardstick. If you come up against a guitar player and he's into Andy Taylor, and Andy Taylor's playing and what he did with Duran and other artists, you know your job's going to be a lot easier, because I can slot straight into that kind of groove and feel without even thinking about it. Playing John Taylor bass lines and, you know, Duran grooves, that just comes naturally. It's all in the brain. So yeah, so there we go. Nutter Butter, yeah, I got that. Stacey Anna, it's all in love. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. If any of you wish to say happy birthday to Stacey, feel free. Stacey helps me out with a lot of the graphics here on the channel, so thank you. Yeah, I feel your emotion. Saw them in 84 in Greensboro. Weren't you the lucky girl? The one tour I wanted to go and see. And for those of us who were 11, 12 in 84, 85, once the American side of the Sing Blue Silver tour ended, that was it. There was nothing to look forward to tour-wise until 87. So when Sing Blue Silver, the documentary, came out and was aired on TV here in the UK, and then the following night we had As the Lights Go Down, that just, you know, obviously we'd had the Reflex video, not really knowing, we didn't have the internet back then, so you wouldn't know. But that was part of a longer film. Watching Sing Blue Silver and As the Lights Go Down, that's my blueprint for being a musician. This is what it involves: travel, all the work, all the good stuff as well. That's what being a musician is. And I thought, that's what I want to be. And that was it. Signed, sealed and delivered. Let's have a look. Love your love for the band, Mike, Gary, G-Pack. Passion and love for the band is clear. Thank you very much. I'm a loyal band supporter. If a band influences me, I mean, not that you're going to speak to my mum or my family, but I still love the same bands I loved when I was growing up. I'm very loyal to those kind of things. So for me, it's Queen, it's Duran Duran, Earth, Wind and Fire, Chic, all the disco stuff, you know, Level 42, Prince. And then from that collection of material, I kind of go outwards. So it's like doing a rock family tree, and the tentacles go ever wider. So if you looked at my CD collection and my music collection, you'd go, I don't understand why that would be on your register, but it's, you know, from John to Bernard Edwards, and then looking back at Motown, and then Sly and the Family Stone and Larry Graham, and then that goes out, and then you're looking at Jaco Pastorius and Weather Report and Marcus Miller, and Andy's side would take me out on a rock vein. So, you know, that's why I like Billy Sheehan and AC/DC and all the rock band. These are the things. Kids don't do it now. They just don't do it. They kind of like to be spoon-fed. Whereas when I was a kid, you'd go through your parents' record collection, or you'd be listening to the radio and you'd listen to documentaries and interviews on the radio. I mean, I've got some great Duran and Arcadia. Actually, I've got some Arcadia interviews on tape, which I should digitize at some point. And that's how you learn. You know, not only just being a fan, but as a musician, or you were thinking, I'd like to be a musician, I don't know what it takes. I didn't have anyone in my family to inspire me in that direction. So it was all a discovery, a voyage of discovery. It's taken me this far anyway. Nutter Butter, I was so excited to get to see Andy with the band again. Exactly the same. The fact that Andy and Roger, I had nothing against Warren. Warren was great. But I remember, now here is how far that goes back. I was driving back from a recording session in, now, it was either September 99 or September 2000. I suspect it was 2000, but for some reason, it's in my brain as 99. It couldn't have been 99 though, because they were still doing Pop Trash and that, or that was still to come. So I suspect it was 2000. And I was listening to Capital Radio, which is a radio station here in London. And part of their news that night was, oh, we've heard rumours that Duran Duran, the original 5, are going to get back together. And I was thinking, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen unless there is a serious amount of money on that plane. And then 2001 came along, and you saw all these rumours online. They're getting back together. They're writing. They're playing. It was like, oh, okay. Let's see what happens, shall we? And then 2003, they're on stage, and I can tell you the excitement was palpable. I think I actually cried when I started hearing the new material. So Beautiful Colours, Virus, the original mixes of Sunrise, Taste of Summer. There was loads of extra material in those writing sessions. I got quite emotional. It was like my boyhood band, along with Queen, reforming. I can see that original lineup. I lived Duran Duran from the point Rio, the album came out, and Hungry Like the Wolf was the second single. That was it. I was hook, line and sinker. From when Planet Earth came out up to that point, I was a fan. From that point in 82, that's it. That's my band, totally. And I carried that through pretty much up until about, I'd say probably Midazoland time. My life was changing. The internet was here, but I didn't have access to it at home. I had lots of things going on in my life and professionally. Kind of lost tabs on it all a bit. Would try to see as much as I could, but just kind of, there was so much going on. I was then a professional musician, and every time they were playing in London, I was gigging. So that kind of thing. So a lot of those shows I missed from about 97, 98, 99, 2000. Yeah. But I saw them. So I saw them the middle night at Wembley Arena in 87. I saw them at Wembley Arena for the Big Thing show, which was Christmas Eve's Eve, for anyone who's heard the Capital Radio recording. Yeah, Christmas Eve's Eve. Yeah, so saw them then. I think I went to Poole in 89 for the Electric Theatre tour. And then didn't see them at all for the 93, 94 stuff. And actually the Wembley Arena show got rescheduled, I think, to 94. I was away doing something on my degree. I didn't see them again until 2004, sorry. Yeah. Mark Williams, he gave them that hard edge that I loved. Do you know what? So many people say that same thing. It was Andy's guitar playing in combination with everything else that the band had going on. But that guitar just set them apart. So if you just had the keys, bass and drums, that was still a pretty good band. The guitar playing just was the icing on the cake. And for me, as a young kid, it was like my perfect mix, because I grew up with all the disco stuff. My mum always had the radio on. She was always buying albums by Chic, Earth, Wind and Fire, the Bee Gees, all of that stuff that was going on in sort of the late 70s, early 80s. And then along comes this band that takes all the rock stuff, and I'm a fan of Queen, and so I'm not averse to a bit of rock stuff, and fuses it with this disco rhythm section. Then you've got these keys and this guy at the front who hyper confident, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's my band. That's for me. Here we go. Patrick Sweeney, evening, Mike. Evening, Patrick. Thank you for keep joining the live chats. I hope everything's going better with your sister. I did get your message about you going to Australia to see her, and I'm just sending positive vibes out there. You know, I hope this all works out for her. Okay. But thank you for keep joining in these chats. I really do appreciate it. Life bites you when you least expect it, and don't you know it? So anyone who's going through this, maybe you have prostate cancer. I've known people who've had it, and they're seeking sort of the medical help. As a guy, you know, we get to that age. I'm in that corridor now. Guys, if you're in that corridor, 50 plus, go to your doctor and get checked. There's nothing bad about it. You can get self-test things. Do it. Don't leave it too late. Okay. But I don't want this to turn preachy, so let's try and be happy tonight. Mark Williams, John Taylor's Tone was awesome at Hyde Park this year. Great gig. I had in my head I was going to that gig in 2020. I was then going to go in 2021. Actually, I couldn't go in 2020 because, now this is a great story. I was meant to play at Wembley Stadium on that Sunday, which I think was July I haven't got time to go and look on a calendar. Anyway, whatever the date was for Hyde Park 2020, I was going to buy a ticket. I then got booked to play 2 shows at Wembley Stadium. Now, any musician, but for me, British, from London, Queen fan, good music fan, Wembley Stadium. You know, that's the holy grail. That's what you're going for. You know, you get to play there, you've hit the lottery. And I was booked to do 2 nights at Wembley Stadium. One was the Tuesday leading up to the Sunday, and one was the Sunday, the final, to play with the Queen tribute. The way it was told to me was we were going to be playing before kickoff on a stage on the pitch. And that was going to be entertainment for the crowd, and then we would come off and the stage was going to be wheeled on and wheeled off, and that was it. 2 nights. We were going to do quarterfinals on the Tuesday, or one night of the quarterfinals and the final. I was made up. Then COVID hit. So we're waiting to find out, is this going to happen? Is it going to happen? Obviously the whole tournament got cancelled, moved to 21. We kept the diary open. The agent came back, yeah, they still want you. And we're like, great. And then as it got closer, I kept saying to the band leader, is that contract signed? And they said, they haven't confirmed yet. We've got to just wait and see. They didn't confirm. They decided because COVID was still extending and the COVID thing didn't stop here until middle of July, they didn't want the band. So we didn't get to do it. I was going to go to Hyde Park this year. And I had such a run of gigs around it. I was absolutely shattered. And as much as I wanted to go, I think we just had the heat wave. And I think I'd done 4 or 5 shows that week. I was absolutely on my backside, so I didn't go. I literally was wiped out. But next year, I'm going. So, also, I'm not a huge fan of gigs in Hyde Park, I'll be honest. I don't like the sound. I've heard the sound. I've been to gigs there. I'm never that much a fan of that open air sound that's just flying everywhere. But that's just me. Okay. Let's see, where are we? Mark Williams, happy birthday, Stacey. Yeah, bless her. Fan for it, Steve. Saturday live chat was great. Okay, Friday's live chat was the one in Lincoln. Saturday's one was the one in Burton. So for anyone wondering what I'm talking about, we did, or I did, 2 very impromptu live chats on Friday and Saturday. Normally it's here on a Tuesday at 7 o'clock, here in my office with all the gear and the gubbins. I was out on 3 Queen tribute gigs last week, and I found myself with loads of time in a very quiet venue with Wi-Fi. If it was on mobile, I couldn't do it, but we had Wi-Fi. And so I did some impromptu live chats. Very often here on the Brooksy's Bass Corner live chats, we talk about gigs and gear setups and what we play and what have you. But I'm here in my office. Very hard also because of the setup I'm using here. I'm not going through a mixer and stuff, unlike some channels, which that's something to aim for. So I don't want to play bass here and make the mic distort and everything else. I found I was at this gig, sound checking, with a quiet room and Wi-Fi, and I just went live, and we had a 2-hour chat, and I was able to show various Queen fans who attend the live chat. I could show them some of the bass lines and how I play it and how I set my rig up and the pedals, and so that's what I need to scroll back up, it's all moving too quick. Yeah, so that's what Fanfret Steve is talking about. The following day, I was at St George's Park, the Hilton Hotel at St George's Park in Burton, which is the England football team's headquarters. And again, we had a whole day sitting around and I had Wi-Fi. So we did another live chat. So thank you, Fanfret Steve, for attending. I really appreciate it. So before we go on to the rest of the messages, guys, you're very welcome here. Thank you for attending. I see the numbers look great there. This is Brooksy's Bass Corner. I'm Mike Brooks. Live chat 26. We've been going for 40 minutes. It's a different live chat today. It's a special. For anyone who's sort of fallen in thinking it's regular bass chat, tonight's a special for Andy Taylor, the ex-guitar player of Duran Duran. He's worked with Rod Stewart, Robert Palmer, Belinda Carlisle, his own solo albums, Power Station. I could go on and on and on. The guy's discography is fairly immense. For anyone that doesn't know, Duran Duran were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on Saturday. Those of us who are Duran Duran fans were really excited, not only because we've been waiting years for that to happen and had to fight tooth and nail for it to be achieved. We were looking forward to seeing the 4 members of Duran Duran with the 2 ex-guitar players, Warren Cucurullo, Andy Taylor. Andy was looking forward to attending. Neither guitarist turned up, and Andy announced via a letter to the band that he's got stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer, which is terminal. He's had it for 4 years and there's no cure. So I wanted to make tonight's live chat a celebration of Andy's life and work before he passes away. He could have years yet. Let's fingers crossed that's what the outcome will be. He could live into his 70s or 80s, who knows. But I've had too many musical heroes, too many influences, musicians, actors, writers, artists, personal friends, who until they pass away, no one says what a great influence they are and aren't they wonderful. It's too late once they've gone. You can't tell them. So it's highly unlikely Andy's ever going to see this video. If you should stumble across it, or if one of his family members sees it, or someone who knows Andy and works with Andy, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for the inspiration and the influence you gave me as a kid. We met once at HMV in Oxford Street in 2004 when you were promoting Sunrise. I saw you twice. You made I've got to try and work out how old I was. A 32-year-old bass player, extremely happy in 2004. I never thought I'd get to see you with the original lineup. So thank you. Got to do the quick hard sell. Don't like doing it, but I got to do it because it's how we keep the channel going. If you're enjoying the video, please hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. And when you do that, you've got 3 options. You can hit none, which is no notifications. You can hit personalized, so you can kind of pick which content you get notified about, or you can hit all. So every time I post up a video or a community post, or I'm letting people know what's coming up on the channel, you get notified. If you think I do too many notifications, don't unsubscribe. Just set the notification bell to none and you won't get any notifications. If you're enjoying the video and the live chat, please give it a big thumbs up. It all helps. It keeps the algorithm happy. It keeps the channel moving. If you enjoy any of the videos or content here on the channel, thumbs ups are great. Comments are great. If you send me a comment, I'll come back to you as soon as I see it or get a notification that it's there. If this is your first time on a live chat, whether it's on my channel or any channel, There's a live chat window, which is that side if you're on the desktop app. Try and do it right. There we go. It's on the right hand side. Chuck your comments, any questions, anything you want to talk about. It doesn't have to be Andy Taylor related or Duran Duran. We can do some bass chat as well, but it's all a happy, friendly place tonight. But I just wanted to give some of the Duran fans, some of the Andy Taylor fans, a way of discussing this, because we're all kind of in a bit of limbo at the moment. Until Andy says anything further, we don't know anymore. And I'm sure the band are going to get bombarded at every interview from this point on about Andy's health, how he's doing, how his influence on the band and everything else. So until either Andy or the band say something else, we know nothing more. But that kind of leaves us all with a bit of an empty feeling. It's like, well, what happens now? That's not for us to worry about or for us to know. It's Andy's personal life. So that's what we're going to do. So if you've never been on a live chat before, put your comments, your questions, anything. You can get involved in this live chat. Stick them in the live chat window. If you're on the mobile app, the live chat window is below this video. Okay. In the live chat window, you'll see an emoji icon. You can add emojis to this live chat. Feel free. Help yourself. Next to it, you'll see a dollar symbol. That's called Super Chat. So if you're enjoying this video, you enjoy any videos on the channel, you're enjoying this live chat, you can financially contribute to the running of the channel. So that helps to buy equipment for reviews and demos and equipment for doing the channel and cameras and tripods and laptops and mixers and lighting equipment and lovely t-shirts that you guys can look at. I'm not the greatest model, but there we go. But when it looks that good, why wouldn't you? So you can contribute to the upkeep of the channel. It also allows me to buy studio time that I can then do the videos. If you want to check out any of the other videos here on the channel, feel free. Go to the videos page. You'll see a list. There's about 250 videos on this channel. You can also go to the playlists column. I've arranged everything on this channel into playlists. So if you want to check out Duran Duran related stuff, there's a playlist for it. You can find my interview with John Taylor from 2015 when I was a writer for Bass Guitar magazine. So while he was promoting Paper Gods, there's a 35-minute interview with JT. If you want to check out my Essential Bass Albums series, there's an episode devoted entirely to Rio. That's all in there. There are reviews and demos of these basses. So if you are a bass player or a Duran fan, JT used to use these. Kubicki X Factors. He also used these Aria SB1000s. There are reviews and demos in that playlist. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate that. Hit the notification bell and any of the videos if you enjoy them or if you don't enjoy them. Thumbs up, thumbs down. It's all interaction, which the YouTube algorithm loves. And it helps me to keep this channel going and move forward. I'm going to go back to the messages. Let's see what we've got here. GPAC, you retracted a message. That's cool. Okay, Mark Williams. Phil Lynott was my big heartbreak. We are of that age, sir, where a lot of our influences have gone. You know, there are still those out there. We've still got all of these guys, thankfully. But yeah, you know, 2015, 2016 was a huge wake-up call. Lemmy went. Glenn Fry from the Eagles went. Louis Johnson, famous bass player. Prince. Bowie. How could I forget Bowie? Bowie should have been the first one I mentioned. As Billy Sheehan said, we're in that corridor of exceptional talent that came through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And these influences, people who've shaped the entertainment world, the music business, they're going. So, as I said to my friend Stacey on there a couple of years ago, go and see your heroes. Go and see your influences, because one day they ain't going to be there and you won't get to have another go. Let's be fair, the pandemic should have given everyone a wake-up call on this proviso. We're lucky we've come out this far. We might not have come out, and there are some entertainers and performers who are never going to go back out on a live stage. Thankfully, a lot have, but there are a lot, and I've interviewed quite a few who during the pandemic, Nathan East was a perfect, Billy Sheehan, Peter Hook, Gail Ann Dorsey. No one knew. Were we going to get out for another round? Is this it? Are we all indoors for the rest of our life. Who knew? Who knew? So yeah, I feel the Phil Lynott thing, Mark. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Let's see. Star was Stacey Ann, Phil Lynott. Phil was a great player. He was a poet, you know, a poet in a rock star's body. JC, so very sad. Stacey Ann, thank you very much for the super chat. Guys, this is what I was talking about. So if you wish to contribute, as Stacey has, $4.99, thank you very much. Birthday girl, I'll buy you a birthday cake and send it over. That'll be the reciprocation there. JC, wish I got on sooner. I don't know who you are by the initials JC, but you are very welcome here. Anything you want to talk about regarding Andy Taylor, Duran Duran, and his work with all the projects he's been in. John Taylor, you want to talk about Duran for 20 minutes, half an hour to an hour? Fire it all in that live chat window. I'll react to it as soon as I can. I think I've missed a couple of messages there, the live chats. Hang on, here we go. Here we are. GPAC. I've had it recently with Mark Hoppers of Blink 182. Yeah, thankfully he's now cancer-free. Yes, bass players rule. But the story sounds the same. I wouldn't play bass if it wasn't for Blink 182. Gary, when I was a kid, we didn't have internet. We didn't have a lot of the stuff that's around today. And you literally lived, if you were a fan of a band, you were literally watching the news, watching telly, watching the kids' programs. You would scour the TV listings in the paper for live gigs. And back then, so much live music and gigs were broadcast on TV. And once we got VHS video recorders, well, I mean, I've still got all my VHS cassettes upstairs, and I've got some great stuff. Actually, I was talking to Nathan East about that last time I saw him. He said, all that stuff you've got of gigs that I'm on, can you do me copies? At some time, I'll get it onto a DVD for you. But yeah, and we literally, that's how we lived. If you were a fan of a band, we didn't have internet. You couldn't keep up with what was going on. And for someone like me, I was a musical sponge. I really was. I would soak influences up, but I didn't have the money to go and buy every album. And once I got a paper round, God, how old was I then? 14, 15? All my money was saved for buying my first bass, my first amplifier, buying records. That's all my money went on. I just knew that this is what I want to do. And I knew, knowing the history of players and albums and artists, and who's the session player playing on Asia by Steely Dan, and who's on Michael McDonald's album, and who are the band members in Yes, and all of that. It's musical education. Kids now just, a lot of the time, just expect it to be spoon-fed. Go and do your research. It's out there. You've never had as much access to free information as you have now. Sorry, I sound old and grumpy. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm just grateful that actually, this was a point I wanted to raise today. As sad as we all are with Andy's cancer diagnosis, Stacey will know what I'm about to say, because I said it the other night on another creator's live chat. Be happy and so grateful that we have lived through the time, for those of us that are of my age, that we lived through a time that we got to experience Duran Duran and their rise to fame. And we got to experience the big bands and the big entertainers. You know, every day I'm grateful as a Manchester United fan that I lived through the period of Sir Alex Ferguson, and I saw that team, and I would go to games and I've seen those players. That might never happen for that team ever again. You know, I lived through the period when Queen had Freddie Mercury. What a time to be alive, because in 100 years' time, I don't see the large influential figures in music, sports different, because that always has people that push the boundaries. But in music, entertainment, actors, I don't see the people coming up to replace the ones that are going. So if you're like me, and you're around the 40 to 50 to 60 bracket, be grateful. We have lived through this time. We got to see all this. We experienced it before the internet was a thing. You know, how exciting it was to go to gigs and you didn't know what the set list was going to be. You know, there were no set list spoilers. You didn't see footage on YouTube 5 minutes after the gig had finished. It was exciting. God, I tell you. That's not me being old. That's That's the thing. Mark Williams, eclectic taste, best way to be. I'm the same. Anything from Slayer to Mozart. Good man, Mark. Exactly. Exactly. Keep those ears open at all times. JC, the same. Exactly. This message is held for review. Neo Collective, good evening. Welcome. Halls of Fame are the dumbest shit. Okay. Not to worry. I'll let that message go. You're okay. Thank you for joining us, sir. You are welcome. Halls of Fame, yeah, it's kind of like, what's the best band? Who's the greatest bass player? Don't go down that road. There's so many different things. There's so many great players, great bands. Just enjoy it. You know, it's not a competition. It really isn't. There is no greatest bass player. There is no greatest singer, greatest band, greatest guitar player. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat the small stuff. Wish I got on sooner. JC, hi. Okay, Starbucks Stacey Ann. Yeah, so very sad. Thank you for doing this. My pleasure. It took, actually, I kind of, Sunday afternoon, I was thinking maybe I should do something this week's live chat. It seemed the right thing to do. But over the past couple of days since Andy's announcement, it just feels like all us Duran fans are in limbo and everyone's upset when we should have been really excited and happy. And I get the feeling, reading messages from all over the world, just people want to vent, but they also want to sort of celebrate Andy. And it's very hard sometimes on the various Facebook groups, Instagram channels. People have their own agendas and stuff, and I have no agenda here. So I'm just happy talking Duran Duran, talking Andy Taylor, talking basses, talking music, you know. So there is no agenda, and it's fueled. This live chat is fueled by you guys. So you contribute as much as I do. If you had to sit and listen to me for an hour or more, send you to sleep. So I am more than grateful that you guys contribute, get involved. It's all good. It's all good. Until we hear more from Andy Taylor or from Duran Duran, be happy the guy's still alive. Enjoy the music. Enjoy his output. And, you know, we lived through this. We've lived through Duran Duran and Andy Taylor being alive. It's no bad thing. Mundo Football, good evening. Hi, welcome. Hello from Buenos Aires. Welcome, sir. I hope you're well. Hope you're safe and well out there. Everyone out there. And actually, while I'm here, the last week or so, there's been a huge uplift in subscriber numbers, huge uplift in likes on the videos. Views are up. Everything on my YouTube analytics is in green going upwards. So thank you, everyone out there. I really appreciate... Put teeth in again. I'm going to see the dentist tomorrow. I really appreciate all the input, all the comments, the likes, the views, the subscribers. It's all good. It's all going in the right direction. This channel's been running nearly 2.5 years. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Anytime you want to come and visit Brooksy's Space Corner, you're more than welcome. If you check out a video now and again, great. You want to come on to the live chat? We're here every Tuesday, 7 p.m. UK time. You ever want to talk about basses, music, bass players, guitar players, Andy Taylor, Duran Duran, anything. You got a bass guitar and it's broken, something not working. You want to talk about bass amplifiers, bass speakers, effect pedals, bass accessories. You want to talk about anything here on the YouTube channel. You want to talk about my reviews, my demos, interviews. So if you're a Duran Duran fan, you never visited my channel before, you won't have seen my interview with John Taylor from 2015. Check it out. I will put a link here in that corner, and anything that I refer to that is on my channel, or there are links or anything that I think you need to know or be aware of, it will be in the description box tomorrow. Once this video is streamed and uploaded via YouTube, I can start putting in stuff in the description box. So that will all be there tomorrow. So if you haven't checked out the interview with John Taylor, there'll be a link in the description box below. And also there was an Essential Bass album series on Rio. So that will also be down there. So here we go. Patrick Sweeney, I met Andy Taylor once back in the late 80s. I literally bumped into him on Tottenham Court Road. I'm a fair bit taller, so I apologised, said I loved his playing. He was buying a new guitar that day. Well, you lucky guy. He seems to buy a lot of guitars, but then I can't talk. There's 34 basses here. So, yeah, I know. We know that feeling, Patrick, I think. Yeah. Stacey, how cool, Patrick Sweeney. JC, me too. All my part-time job money went to concerts and albums. That's the way you did it, wasn't it? I got a part-time job when I went to A-level college. So that would have been 1989. And I spent my first week's wages on a copy of The Miracle by Queen. That was the album I'd waited 3 years for. And it came out on the Monday after I'd done my weekend shifts. I got my cash, because they paid you in cash at Sainsbury's back then, and I went and bought the album. See, these are the stories. You see, the gold dust, this is. Right. Monday football. We all love Andy. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I'm very sad, but you're right. We have to be grateful. I'm 51. I'm 50. Stacey is 1 or 2 years older than that today. For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Stacey here on the live chat, regular attendee, helps me with a lot of the graphics I do here on the channel. The birthday girl today. So if you wish to send her birthday wishes, feel free. And also anyone who's late coming to the chat, there's a poll at the top of the live chat window. Just interested to know what your favourite Andy Taylor Duran Duran album is. Arena isn't on there because I can only put 4 options. So it's the 4 studio albums. So it's Duran Duran, Rio, Seven the Ragged Tiger, Astronaut. Okay, what's your favourite? Actually, this can go out to all of you. What's your favourite Duran song that Andy's on? Favourite Duran album? Any memories of seeing Andy live? Okay, let's see here. Monday football. You have a positive point of view. I like it, and we need it in this moment. Yes, we do. If you watch this at the start of the video, I got a little tearful on 2 occasions. Managed to hold that in, thankfully. But yeah, it's quite upsetting because you realise that someone who's a major influence and a hero is going through the wars, and the fact that he's already had it 4 years and didn't announce it, fair dues to him. It's his situation. It's up to him to communicate it if he so wishes. But you do then just start to think, well, how long has he got left? And he is only 61. However, the flip side to that is he has certainly lived the life. He's certainly lived the life. I've met and worked with a number of people that knew Andy. I've worked with Mark Shaw from Then Jericho, and he told me some stories about Andy Taylor that would make your hair curl. That's by the by. Who else did I know? I've worked with a couple of people who knew or know Andy, and yeah, the stories are entertaining, colourful. I actually know Dom Brown. Dom worked in my Green Day tribute as a dep for a couple of gigs in 2005. So he'd already done his stand-in stint in 2004 when Andy's dad was passing away. And or Andy's dad was ill, and he stood in for him in America. I think it was it VH1? Might have been a Storytellers gig. Might have been. And then Dom stood in for him in January 2006, the Hammersmith gig, when Andy's dad was passing away. So I know Dom. We've communicated a fair bit over the years. I haven't spoken to him probably for about 6 or 7 years, but he's a busy chap. And you sometimes wonder, will he actually remember who I am? But anyway, he did a great job in the Green Day tribute, so no complaints. Stacey Ann, yes, Andy should be celebrated for all his contributions. Agreed. Agreed. I think we can all agree to that. Mark, have to drop off now. No problem. Thanks, Mark. Thank you for joining in. If you're here and you're watching and you're enjoying the live chat, thank you. If you're listening to this or watching it after the event, don't worry that the live chat has now ended. You can actually still contribute via the comments. So if there's anything we're talking about and you want to get into a conversation, by all means comment, and I will reply to it as soon as I see it. I get notifications whenever a comment is left on one of my videos, so I'll reply to it. So I know a load of my bass playing friends listen to my live chats as podcasts when they're driving home from long gigs. Poor people. I wouldn't be listening to me on the drive home, but there we go. But we do talk lots of bass and lots of good stuff. So feel free to use these live chats as podcasts if you so wish. Mundo Football, what do you think about Dom? I think he never got the Andy style. Different players. Although there is a common link, because Dom is very Led Zeppelin, 60s, 70s rock, you know, he's of the same thing. Andy's playing is of a similar vibe. However, you have to remember, Andy's playing style with Duran Duran would have been seriously influenced by Colin Thurston for those first two albums. And you actually wonder what might have happened had they not had Colin Thurston produce those first two albums. If there'd been a different producer in there, those albums and those tracks that we all know and love could have come out very, very differently. And I do remember, it might have been the interview in Bass Guitar magazine that Dave Clark did, where I think John said Colin Thurston was a major influence on them as players, and being able to see the bigger picture and to fuse all those elements in that band to make them sound like that. Because the easiest point of reference is you compare the first two albums to Seven and the Ragged Tiger. Totally different. Alex Sadkin was the producer on Seven and the Ragged Tiger. Now, I didn't know of Alex Sadkin at that point, but then if you follow his work through, he produced the first Robbie Neville album. Have a listen to that album and compare that to Seven and the Ragged Tiger. You can hear that producer's got a serious effect on how those two albums sound. So Colin Thurston seriously affected how those, you know, the first album and Rio would have sounded. But Dom is a lovely guy. I haven't seen him in a very long time, but we did chat quite a bit up until about, oh God, must have been about 2014, 2015. Just the occasional text. Hi, how you doing? Hope you're well. Hope family are good. Hope the gigs are going well. He knows I'm a big Duran fan. But I don't sort of hassle him about it. I don't go looking for free tickets and stuff. I let him just get on. There's enough going on with the Duran machine. You wouldn't want to have to sort of dominate his view of what's going on. So I kind of let him be. But if he ever sends me a message or I'll send him one, then great. You know, no worries at all. You voted for Rio. Excellent. Good stuff. Classic album. That's why it's in my Essential Bass album series. Stacey Ann, I'm torn between the first album and Rio really as a favourite. Well, this is it, isn't it? Those first two albums are they're in our psyche. I lived those albums, you know. I like Andy's solo in Point of No Return. Actually, do you know what? Astronaut for me was a great return. I was really pleased with that album, and fingers crossed we get to hear Reportage next year if that comes out. If they can get that together, and it would be a fitting tribute to Andy, hoping that he has 20 years or more left to go, but they get that out before his time is up. I'd really want to hear that album because, to be fair, Red Carpet Massacre for me was a major disappointment compared to what Astronaut had been. I won't get into the band politics and, you know, slagging off albums and what have you, but for me, Red Carpet Massacre was a bit of a miss, but there we are. Okay, I think I've got to the bottom of the messages there. Okay, let's have a look at the poll, shall we? Bear with me a minute. Let's have a look at this. You might be able to see it better than I can. I can't see it too well on here. Just bear with me a moment, guys. Let's have a look. For some reason, it's not letting me see it, but that could be because my laptop's giving me grief. Okay, we'll look at that a little later. Okay, if this is your first visit to Brooksy's Bass Corner, you are more than welcome. Great to see you all out there. Thank you for attending. This is live chat number 26. We've done 26 of these. And normally it's all bass chat. We talk about basses, bass guitars, bass amps. We're talking about bass effects. We're talking about bass gods, bass legends, your favourite bass players, favourite albums. You got a problem with your bass, problem with your amp, let me know. I might be able to solve it. I've been bass player for 35 years. I've got 27 years professional playing experience. I've done over 4,000 shows. I might be able to help. I was a writer for Bass Guitar Magazine and bass player for 18 years. I've reviewed over 700 basses, amplifiers, effects, accessories. I kind of know a bit about bass guitars, if you hadn't guessed. You got any problems with any of your gear? You got a gig coming up and you're a bit worried about it. You're trying to set a pedal board up and you don't know the right order to do the pedals. Put it in the live chat window. As soon as I sit there, I'll reply to it. If you're new to the channel, new to live chats, the live chat window is how you communicate. So as soon as I see messages and comments in there, I'll respond to them. In that live chat window, there's an emoji icon, so you can contribute emojis to the chat. That's all good. Next to it is a dollar symbol. That allows you to financially contribute to the channel, which pays for equipment to do the filming, the audio, the editing. It allows me to book studio time to do videos. It also allows me to buy items that get reviewed and demoed here on the channel. It also allows me to do workshop videos. So I buy all the products for setting basses up, cleaning them, sorting out the woods, sorting out the frets, all of that. So if you wish to make a financial contribution to the channel, and you certainly don't have to, this is free, but if you wish to make a contribution to the channel like Stacey did earlier, $4.99, hit that dollar symbol in the live chat window and you can contribute. It's as easy as that. Alternatively, if you're watching this after the event, you think, oh, well, I'd like to contribute, but the live chat window's shut. Underneath every video here on the channel, because I'm monetized, you will see a set of icons. So there's a thumbs up, a thumbs down, share, save, watch later. There's also a love heart with a dollar symbol. That's called super thanks. So on the live chat, it's called super chat. Super thanks allows you to contribute to a channel if you really enjoy the video you're watching, or you really enjoy the creator who's creating the content that you're watching. You might, for example, have a Kabiki X Factor bass like this, and you may not have a clue how to restring it. You wouldn't be the first person. It's not like a conventional bass. You might go onto YouTube to find a video that explains how to do it. I'll be putting a video up about it very shortly. That video might just help you to restring your bass. You might want to say thank you to the creator, in which case you'd hit the super thanks button and make a small financial donation to their channel. It's as easy as that, really. Over the coming weeks and months, there's going to be a membership scheme here on the channel as well for exclusive content, and very shortly there will be merchandise. So we're going to have t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, there's going to be bags, there's going to be all sorts. Fret wraps, possibly. Velcro straps for doing your cables. There's going to be lots of stuff coming up. So if this is your first time on Brooksy's Bass Corner, thank you for attending. You're more than welcome here. Tonight is a special live chat. We're talking about Andy Taylor from Duran Duran, who has announced that he has stage 4 prostate cancer. And there is no cure. It's terminal. We don't know how long we've got Andy around for. The band were at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on Saturday. They were being inducted after many years of trying to get in there. The fans, I think, battered down the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and said, you've really got to get this band in there. And they opened it to a fan vote, and we obliterated, I think Eminem came second, or Dolly Parton. And it was meant to be a night of celebration and happiness where the band were going to be reunited with their 2 former guitarists, Warren Cucurullo and Andy Taylor, neither of whom could attend. We haven't heard why Warren wasn't there. I think we can all kind of surmise why Warren didn't attend. And Andy couldn't make it and sent a letter. I can reread that letter if anyone wants me to read it. I'll happily do so. I read it earlier and almost got a little tearful. I'm assuming everyone knows the situation. If you don't, put it in the live chat window and I'll read the letter. Okay, I can see comments here. I vote for Rio. Point of no return. Yes, absolutely. The whole Astronaut album, it's great. It's literally like them rediscovering each other, firing on all cylinders again, because Sunrise is great. Want You More is great. What Happens Tomorrow is great. Nice is great. One of my favourite Duran songs. Taste of Summer is great. And then the later part of the album is a little darker. Great album. I was gutted it didn't get number one. But they weren't flying on a high level at that point with the kids. It's a shame that Andy and the guys didn't get on well for more years. Imagine all the songs and albums we would have enjoyed. Can you imagine? I was thinking about this today. Can you imagine how much bigger Duran Duran could have been? And at the time, in 82, 83, 84, 85, and in 85, they started to drop off as other bands were coming through in terms of popularity. How big that band could have been had the internet been around. With all the social media, YouTube. You know, you look at Ed Sheeran gets 5 billion views on a video. Can you imagine kids watching Rio or Hungry Like the Wolf at that time? When people would watch TV in millions. You know, something could be on the telly. I mean, I'd be interested to know when they put on a Duran Duran concert or Sing Blue Silver or As the Lights Go Down, although those were on very late at night, well, the viewing figures would have been. Because at that time, that band was huge. I mean, really huge. So imagine had we had the internet and social media and everything. I mean, they would have been playing stadiums. I honestly believe that. I really do. I think it would have been a totally different kettle of fish. And they may have had a more sustained career. Because I can remember at the time, and I know I've read in books since, that in EMI's eyes, Duran Duran were the new Queen. So basically Queen had come and done their thing, were a huge band worldwide, and they saw Duran as the inheritors of Queen's mantle going forward. Obviously Queen got bigger and bigger and bigger and would have carried on getting bigger, but Duran were following in those footsteps. And Lord knows there's a huge link between Queen and Duran. I mean, Roger Taylor and John Taylor were often at the same clubs talking about projects and what have you. They've played on the same bills many occasions. So yeah. Patrick Sweeney, I really enjoyed Andy's contribution to Power Station with Robert Palmer. He got to rock out properly. But that first Power Station album, I love it. I just wish it had been remixed slightly differently. The bass is so low. Some of it is so muted. And I know on the video clips of them recording, John's playing his aria with flat wounds. Get rid of flat wounds. Round wounds every time. Because certainly on like Get It On, you can barely hear it. I mean, he's literally, it's pick against flat wound string. Really low mix. Could have been a better mix. And I love, anyone that knows me and follows the channel knows I love Bernard Edwards. I love Tony Thompson. Everyone in the Power Station project, I'm a big fan of. I just think the mix was slightly off. The second Power Station album has some good parts as well. Just a shame that JT had to jump ship and yeah, Robert Palmer was probably not in the best of health. Neither was Tony Thompson. But well, actually, I say that. No, I'm getting the years mixed up with. They passed away in the 2000s. Second Power Station album was 97, I think. My 96, 97. My bad there. There's too much going on in the brain trying to run the live chat. Monday Football, I agree. Indeed, we want to hear reportage, please. Nick alluded to it, didn't he, at Hollywood High premiere. So let's hope. Because in Andy's book, Wild Boy, it was an album. He was really happy. Maybe he might have stayed on. I think there were things already going on. Do you know what? When I saw them at Earl's Court in December 2005, Andy didn't have his greatest gig. He was a little all over the place on some of the songs. There is a clip online, I think, well, it'll be on YouTube, of them playing Electric Barbarella, and they muck it up. And you can actually hear him talk over the mic. I absolutely beep this song. He doesn't like it, and there were obviously some conflict going on. But anyway, he wasn't great that night. His solo to Ordinary World, playing that lick, the opening lick, wasn't great either. So you could tell something wasn't right within the camp at that point. But there we go. I don't want to be on a downer tonight. I don't. I'm happy in the fact that I lived through that time when Duran Duran literally wiped the floor with every band in the world, apart from maybe Queen. Stacey, oh wow, yes. Can you just imagine an earlier Duran Duran with the benefit of social media? Exactly. I can, because I look at things like One Direction, which it's not a band, it's a group. A band plays its instruments. Groups are manufactured things that get put together. But you look at how One Direction got pushed by Simon Cowell and what have you, and the level of fandom around the world. Duran Duran were the forerunners to all of that. And okay, you could say before that there was basically Rollers and Bowie and T-Rex, Beatles, Rolling Stone. But I remember when One Direction were big all over the world. And, they're doing 10 nights at the Hollywood Bowl. And, they're doing Giant Stadium in New York, 15 nights on the bounce. And you're thinking, well, that's what Duran Duran would have done had we been in that time with that technology and that level of coverage, easy access to information and media. And it would have been off the scale, frankly. I'm just going to have a quick drink, guys, because my throat's drying up. Yeah. So, thank you, everyone, for attending. This is really very welcome. So, this is Brooks's Bass Corner. I'm Mike Brooks. Tuesday evening when we do our live chats. Tonight's a special one. It's for Andy Taylor of Duran Duran. He hasn't passed away. He hasn't died. But he has announced that he's got stage 4 prostate cancer, and no one knows how long he's got. Let's hope. Fingers crossed he's got many years to come. But I just wanted to open up tonight's live chat. We do bass chat every week. We can still do bass chat if any bass players are watching. We want to talk John Taylor, maybe. We're always happy to talk JT here on this channel. But I just wanted to open it up because I wanted to talk about Andy and Duran Duran. That's it's my channel, it's my privilege. That's what I wanted to make the live chat about. But also to give Duranies, Andy fans, a chance to talk, communicate, get into a chatting conversation. Because at the moment it feels like we're a little bit in limbo. It's like we're in a bit of a vacuum. We weren't expecting Andy's announcement. Now everyone's got questions. And we're not really sure what the next part in this story is going to be. I really hope that he's not close to passing on. I really hope that is not the case. I hope we get another 20, 30 years of Andy Taylor being on this planet. But you never know. And sometimes these things happen where things get announced and before you know it, they've passed away. And I don't want that. So I wanted to celebrate the life of Andy Taylor. He's worked with Duran Duran, he's worked with Robert Palmer, the guys from Chic, his production work and playing with Thunder, his solo stuff, Belinda Carlisle, all the projects and things he's worked on in his life. Just wanted to celebrate it. I'm dreading that we might have to do another one of these sooner than later. I'm hoping we don't. But on that basis, I just wanted to open tonight's live chat up to regular participants in the live chat here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. But I also wanted to tap into the people on the various Facebook groups, Instagram groups, and, we can chat and be friendly. We don't all have to have agendas and be nasty. And I think we're all a little edgy about it at the moment. We're all, because it's hit us all a bit for six. I mean, Lord knows how the band are feeling. I'm sure that will come up. I saw Simon's press conference after the event, and he was not talking, and he was not happy to talk about it, which I get. And really, it's Andy's thing to talk about. It's nothing to do with anyone else. But I do suspect the band are going to be continually bombarded about this situation, and will be asked to comment continuously. But it is what it is, and we've got to soldier on. And hopefully Andy's family can help make the best of the situation, and make the rest of his time as comfortable and enjoyable as possible. So, if you've never been here on Brooksy's Bass Corner before, you are very welcome. It's lovely to have you here. I can see the viewing numbers there. It's all good. If you are enjoying the video, hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Hit the notification bell. That gives you notifications whenever I post anything up. Give the video a thumbs up if you'd be so kind. Give any of the videos on the channel a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. Thankfully, the channel's all in green on my analytics page at the moment. Green with arrows going up, which means everything is moving in the right direction. So thank you to anyone who's subscribed in the past couple of weeks. If you've liked videos, you commented on videos, commented on community posts, got involved with the channel, visited the social media pages. So we're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. If you're a Duranie and you've come from one of the Facebook pages, because I kind of posted up and shared that this live chat was going on yesterday, you are more than welcome. And in fact, anytime you want to come and attend a Brooksy's Bass Corner live chat, this is a Duran friendly zone. You are welcome. We can talk about Duran anytime on a live chat. I'm more than happy to indulge in that. So if you've got any questions about Duran Duran, got any questions about Andy Taylor, any questions about bass playing, you want to talk about John Taylor, we talk about Roger Taylor if you wish. If you want to talk basses, which is what we normally do here, it's normally a live bass chat. And as you can see over my shoulder, we have Kabikis, and there's an area here. And we have amplifiers, effects, speakers, bass accessories. You want to talk about anything here on the channel. So if you've never appeared here and you've come through on the live chat, I do bass reviews, bass demos, effect demos. I do interviews. If you're a Duran fan, there's an interview with John Taylor from 2015. Just as Paper Gods landed, we're talking. It was my interview for Bass Guitar Magazine. 30 minutes of prime John Taylor on a phone call. Unfortunately, it wasn't a face-to-face, but he was in LA dealing with all the magazines, and we got first dibs, I think. We were in first, and he was in fine form. And I talk quite regularly to Sheldon Dingwall. I'm a Dingwall fan. I have a Dingwall here in the rack. If you'd like to see it, I'll pull it out. Oh, so we have a 5-string NG2 in Ferrari yellow. We're talking basses here. So I talk to Sheldon Dingwall quite often. And obviously, John's using Dingwalls at the moment. Very wise man. And yeah, and apparently he couldn't be happier with his combustion basses. And we have the new JT signature coming through. Sure, anyone with an interest in JT and his basses will have seen the unveiling of his signature model at the Frankfurt Music Show a couple of weeks back. So yeah, so that's all good. But we're more than happy to talk about any of the basses JT's used in his career if that's your thing. And so how can you contribute to the channel if that's something you want to do? We have the live chat window. So if you're on the desktop, it's that way. And if you're on the mobile app, it's down there. You'll see an emoji icon. You'll see a dollar symbol next to it. If you hit the dollar symbol, it allows you to make a financial contribution to the channel, which allows me to get the equipment, do the videos, cameras, laptops, lighting, nice t-shirts. Anyone Duran fan? You clearly know that's a nice t-shirt. Yes, it is authentic. 87 tour. Yeah. You know it's an 87 t-shirt because it's starting to go a bit thin. Although it was probably originally like that. I've not worn this t-shirt a million times. So yeah, so if you wish to make a financial contribution to the channel, we have super chat. Stacey did one earlier on for $4.99. Very much appreciated. If you don't want to do it on the live chat, or you're watching the live chat after the event, there's a row of symbols underneath the video: thumbs up, thumbs down, save, share, watch later. You'll see there's a love heart with a dollar symbol. That's called super thanks. The one in the chat window is called super chat. You click on those, you can make a financial donation to the channel. Anything is appreciated, but it all goes straight back into the channel and keeping this running and progressing and making it better and keeping the algorithm happy. And it's all good. It's all good. Right, I can see messages popping up. Stacey, it's a weird old time, Brooksy. Isn't that the truth? I love that Ferrari yellow. Yeah, that's why I picked the yellow. I was going to go for the white. They had a Ducati white at the time, so I bought that base in 2017. And all the dingwalls had fancy car colours. So there was like a Ferrari green, and there was an orange, Ferrari red, Ferrari yellow, Ducati white. There was a blue that came out because I did a review for the magazine as well. Then we had black. And a lot of those colours you can't get anymore. And the yellow always struck me between the eyes. I love a yellow base. And yeah, so I bought that one. Patrick Sweeney, Duran's new album. What do you think? Future Past. Yeah. It's intrinsically Duran. You can hear the elements. There are some really good songs on there. I don't think it's up to the caliber of something like Notorious or Rio, but we're going to say that we've shrouded the albums we love in their catalogue. They're untouchable. And as JT said in the interview I did with him, and he said it on many interviews, they tried when they came back, probably around Astronaut Time and after that for a little while. How can we do a modern Rio? You can't copy that. That album is of its time because that producer also made it sound like that. And that album is a sum of your influences up to that part. You're now further down the road. Your influences have changed. John Taylor's bass playing's changed. No, he couldn't play like that anymore. He was a 21-year-old full of energy and fire at that time. He's now a 60-year-old, which is no bad thing. Thank God he's here with us, But it's a different thing. And I always think of albums as a statement of where you are at that time. I don't mean us, I mean like the musician, the player. People would have said about Queen, why don't they rewrite Queen 2? Or why don't they rewrite Night at the Opera? Why would you? They've done it. Move on. Next one. What's the influences around you? I was fortunate for a period in my career. I was in a covers band called Cover Story with two of the guys from FM, so Pete and Steve. And I got to see, as an outsider, how they went about re-energizing their career and their discography when they came back in 2006-07. And they started writing for new albums. And I can remember being played tracks and demos they were working on. They were going, well, we're really kind of enthusiastic about these artists that are currently about, but we can't do that because that's not what we're about. But those sort of things, they're influencing us now, so we can take that in, put that into the melting pot, and what comes out is us, but it's influenced by what's going on now. And I saw that for a period of 2 or 3 albums. And I know that Metropolis album, they were writing that for about 2 or 3 years. And re-recorded tracks and re-recorded again and then changed it for this. And I got to see that whole process. And week by week, as we did gigs every week, I'd hear like the updates of what was going. And it's very interesting to see that process. Duran would be no different. And they'll make that point a million times. They're always aware of what's going on currently. But then how do you take those influences on board and channel it through your own playing into something for Duran that's current? Because let's be fair, you couldn't make Rio again and make it sound like that. That was 1982. It's 40 years ago. But the new album, or the most recent album, a good album. A good album. I wouldn't say a classic album, but a good album. And again, written some of it before lockdown and COVID. So the finished product has gone through that influence. You know, being at home, are we going to get out again? You know, Duran is a band that lives to play live as well as record albums. As JT said on my interview, if they couldn't get out and play live often, they would kill each other in the studio. And I can understand it. It's the friction, but the gigs relieve the tension. You know, not that it's a nasty tension, but they need that release valve to go out and play. Although I know Nick prefers being in the studio rather than gigging, but there we go. Stacey, I see their LP releases as evidence of how they interpret their surroundings. Isn't that what it is? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, again, they always say in interviews, you know, we keep an eye on what's going on in the charts, what's popular and where it's popular. So I guess, yeah, it's hard. I mean, Red Carpet Massacre would be a good example of maybe trying to be too current and getting involved in the collaborations with Justin Timberlake and Timbaland and not really hitting a home run. So it probably seemed like a good idea at the time. But now when you listen back to it, it sounds quite, I don't want to say it sounds dated, but it just doesn't sound, it's not what you'd expect of a Duran album to me. There's a couple of good songs on there, but it just left me a bit cold, I have to say. Stacey and what they find in front of them. Yeah. Visog, evening. Good evening. Welcome. Hope you're safe and well wherever you are. Welcome to the live chat. Slightly different live chat this week. It's not a bass chat, although it can be. If you guys want to talk bass or you want to talk about John Taylor bass playing, feel free. It's more a Duran Duran, Andy Taylor celebration tonight, but the regular rules all apply. So if you want to talk basses, you got a problem with your bass, stick it in the chat window if I can help. I'm more than happy to do so. Stacey agreed. I love the collabs, sorry, but when the fit isn't right, yeah, I knew. I think we all knew at the time. Justin Timberlake was a big Duran fan. I just didn't get the Timbaland thing because I know he was part of Justin Timberlake's writing setup, but it just didn't seem like a right fit to me. And I think then when Mark Ronson came on for All You Need Is Now, that was a much better fit. Well, the proof is in the album. It did much better. The singles were better. The playing's great. The songwriting's great. There's that energy of trying to go back to like the first album. And actually that's a good comparison. We're trying to go back to the first album and tap into that energy was a much better idea than trying to rewrite Rio again. You just can't repeat that. You can't repeat that. It's a statement in time. You know, it'd be a bit like saying to Madness, right, write an album just like the album you released in 1981. They're all grown men with loads of money and, you know, totally, they're not angry 20-year-olds anymore. It's a different thing. Patrick Sweeney, maybe it takes some time to pass and also hindsight to come to a true opinion and feeling about an album. Now that I agree with. I have many an album in my racks here of CDs and vinyl and what have you. Some I've never even listened to, bought and not listened to, or bought with the intention of thinking I'll listen to that in a month or two's time. That happened not just with a couple of Duran albums, it happened with a couple of other albums that I bought of various bands. What was the one I bought? All You Need Is Now I bought when it came out. I didn't listen to it for about 8 months. Purely because my life at the time was really hectic. I had loads of gigs on the go. I had 1,000,001 other things I was listening to. And also a lot of my spare time, and I've said this on live chats before, when you're a working musician, as you will know, Patrick, when you're younger, you get to listen to music for enjoyment. Once this becomes your job, you listen to music for work, because invariably you're learning stuff for the next project you're working on, or the next deck gig that you're doing, or the next tour that you might be warming up for. And that's how things kind of work. So your time to listen to music is usually in the car. And invariably, you're listening to the stuff you're going to be playing. Buying albums and listening to it for enjoyment is something that, as a musician, kind of goes out the window. However, since the pandemic, I've started to make time because none of us know how long we've got. Any of us could catch COVID and it all go to pot. So I do now try to make a bit more time, and I can actually see just off camera up there, there's a whole stack of albums that I've bought over the past 6 or 7 months, and I need to capture them as MP3s, but I also need to listen to the CDs. There's loads of stuff though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's about 14 albums there. So yeah. Let that be a lesson to Michael. Yeah. Patrick Sweeney, yep. Mando Football. What's your opinion about Andy's album Nobody's Business? It has very good songs. I don't know why Andy didn't release it. I've not heard that. I've never tracked it down or sought it out. Cam Voodoo, welcome. Good to see you. Thank you for your contributions on the last couple of live chats. Yeah, Nobody's Business. I haven't heard it, and now you've mentioned it, I will seek it out and try and find it somewhere. I may even know someone who's got it if I can't get it officially properly, but I'll check it out. Thank you for the heads up, Mundo Football. I will check that out. Cam Voodoo, how's that Strandberg doing? And over my shoulder, Kabiki Factor. We were talking about this on Friday, weren't we? And I know that because I was watching the live chat from Friday yesterday and a little bit today, because I was doing all the links and the timestamps for the video, and I realised our chat, and I thought, oh yeah, we'll be doing Kabikis tonight, won't we? So that's why that one's there. So here we are. It's lovely, mate. That Kabiki is stunning. This is the pre-fender one. So let me just take it off. So if anyone wants to ask any questions about this, feel free. So this is a Kabiki X Factor made by Philip Kabiki in August 88. Yeah, 08, 88. And JT used one of these. Used a couple of these from 85 up to around about 1990, 91. Doesn't own any of them anymore, I'm led to believe. The white one went back to Kabiki. The black one got sold at auction a while back. And I think the big thing one got sold on eBay quite a while ago for serious money. But yeah, so these are great basses. If you've never checked them out, there's a review and a demo here on the channel, and I will put links in the description box below. They sound like nothing else, really. The bridge is a piece of work. It's an engineering miracle, frankly. It's 2 pieces that lock together. The pickups and the electronics are off the charts, and then it has this lovely string extender which allows you to go from a regular E tuning. It's not like a hip shot. Nothing's dropped so that string's totally out of tune. What it does is give you 2 extra frets and a slightly longer scale. So you can have low D, or you can have a D sharp, E flat. Yeah. And it has a 36-piece laminate maple neck to give it the rigidity in comparison to a graphite neck. So that's that. Great basses. I have 2 of these. And I love them very much. They're great. Always strung with rotor sound. Swing bass 66s. Evening Jason, Evening Jack, the guys from Rotor Sound. Swear by Rotor Sound strings. Such a little plug. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, we're talking those. That bass has 4505s. These are 4000s for some other basses. Let me stick those there. Oh, that could be a bit messy. Don't do that. There we go. And I can see messages flying in here. Yeah, Stacey. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so here we are. We're celebrating Andy Taylor and Duran Duran this evening, following Andy's announcement that he has stage 4 prostate cancer. Normally it's all bass chat here. Tonight, Andy Taylor, Duran Duran, still doing bass chat. We can talk about the band, albums, singles. What's your favourite Andy Taylor track? Doesn't have to be a Duran track. Could be Addicted to Love, Robert Palmer. He played guitar on it. It might be something on Rod Stewart's albums. He did a couple of albums as producer for Rod, but also played guitar on a couple of them as well. Might be something off his solo album. Might be a Power Station track. Might be a Duran track. There's loads of stuff out there. So, yeah. Can Voodoo. Vale Johnson had a godlike tone with his kabiki. Yes, he did. And we discussed this briefly on Friday. And I didn't know who Vale Johnson was until I went to university in 1991. And a good friend of mine who's a drummer was playing in a little band. And there was a bass player in his band who desperately wanted a kabiki, but he also had a JD. And he had told this drummer about this guy, Vale Johnson, and that was why he wanted a kabiki. And I managed to find the video, I think at HMV it was either Oxford Street or Bond Street, and I bought it. And so Vale Johnson with Kenny G playing Midnight Motion and his solo. And he's using that kabiki throughout this video, and it's outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Now, up to that point, the only kabiki users I really knew were JT, obviously, Stuart Ham. I knew Neil Murray from Whitesnake had used one. Various rock bands were using them as well, although the tone isn't that great for rock, personally. There's no mid control, so you can't really project sort of low and high mids with it, but that's by the by. So yeah, so Vale Johnson was like, whoa, okay. Yeah, godlike tone, exactly. Didn't know about Andy, that's terrible. Criminally underrated guitarist. Correct. I've worked with quite a few guitarists who, for them, Andy was the point that they then took notice of Duran Duran and what Duran were doing. Because he played not like many other guitarists at that time. And what he was doing in parallel to what Nick was doing on the keys and synths fused perfectly. So yeah, criminally underrated. It would have been nice to have heard a bit more of that if he stayed with the band. I know he wanted to do his whole rock thing, but what he did with Duran was great. But you could understand how a rock guitarist might have found that whole environment just a bit limiting. But why couldn't he have done both? Done Duran and a solo career, and now you look at it in hindsight, and that just seems obvious. And so many bands who've split up because people want to do solo albums or do this and why can't you do both? Why can't you do both? And here's a perfect thing, and I will put this out to the educated audience here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. Freddie Mercury did a solo album. Queen were big at the time, 84, 85. He did an album called Mr. Bad Guy, which was the biggest advance CBS had ever paid an artist. Huge amount. The album probably didn't come out quite how Freddie wanted it, and he ended up doing a lot of it himself. He didn't have a band, although he did get some session players in. Roger Taylor, the drummer from Queen, has said many occasions, he said, we would keep going back to listening of tracks and albums, and they hadn't got any further after 6 months. It still sounded the same. And even when it came out and it didn't do very well, Freddie was very bored of that album very quick. He already wanted to move on to the next Queen album, what have you. Here's a question. A lot of you who are Duran fans and bass playing fans will no doubt be fans of Bernard Edwards and Nile Rodgers. Imagine if Freddie had had either of those guys or both of them in a similar capacity to what they did with Diana Ross. Had they been the producers for Mr. Bad Guy? Imagine. If I ever meet Nile Rodgers, I'd like to ask him, if you'd been asked to do that, would you have done it? Because he would have pulled all of the stuff that Freddie loves with disco and funk and all of that, would have pulled it all out. And then you just look at what Niall and Bernard were doing at that time, Madonna, Bowie, Power Station, the Duran stuff. It just would have been something magical. I would have loved to have heard Nile Rodgers get behind the desk of doing Mr. Bad Guy. Just imagine, it'd be great. Maybe that's a project. Maybe that's a project for him. Just like they redid the Barcelona album a couple of years ago with the live orchestra and stuff. Maybe they should give Niall all the masters, take Freddie's voice and then get a band and do the Nile production thing with it. That'd be great. I'd buy that. Yeah, I think we're at the bottom of the messages there, aren't we, guys? I'm annoyed I can't see that. I can't see that poll. It's probably because of my laptop. I can see it sitting there, but I can't access what it says, which is really annoying. And I don't want to click on something and I click the wrong thing. See if I can't get to it. It's just sat there at the top of my chat window. No, I'm not going to click that if it all goes wrong. I don't want to lose this live chat. Okay, so if you've got any questions, anything you'd like to contribute to the live chat tonight, we've done an hour and 50 minutes so far. I'm quite happy to go on as long as you wish tonight. So if you're a Duran fan, you're coming in from Facebook and you clicked on the link, and this is the live chat. This is Brooksy's Bass Corner. I'm Mike Brooks. You are welcome. Tonight is a different live chat to what we normally do. So it's always a Tuesday at 7 o'clock UK time. Tonight isn't just about basses. It's not just about amplifiers and speakers and bass guitars and bass strings and pedals. And we're talking Andy Taylor and Duran Duran. Andy announced at the weekend that he's got stage 4 prostate cancer. It's terminal. There is no cure. And I just wanted to make this a happy place for Duran fans, Andy fans to come and have a chat, have a bit of an event if they wanted to, talk Duran Duran if you want. Duran fans are always welcome here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. I'm a Duran fan, so I know what the territory's like. I was just seeing too many Facebook pages and groups and people posting things, too many Chinese whispers, people making assumptions about things that they know nothing about. So rather than Andy passing away, and only then we all start saying, wasn't he great, and didn't he play great, and weren't those albums great? I wanted to do it while he's alive. He'll probably never see this video, but if he does, Andy, thank you. You were an inspiration and an influence from the point I first heard you when I was 8 years old. So if you come across this video, thank you. Let's see. Stacey, dude, that would have been amazing. And Bernard being the intuitive son. What about if they'd had the pair of them doing it? I know they weren't necessarily on great terms at that point. She could split. They kind of had their own projects. But Niall would sometimes use Bernard and Bernard would use Niall. And there was obviously still a thing there. But imagine if you'd had both of them with Freddie. Woo! Wouldn't that be a match? They'd have got him working. That's for sure. And I think at that time, Fred really needed a bit of a guide. I know he had Mac, but Mac probably wouldn't have stood up to Freddie. I think Niall probably would. And they would have could have been something quite magical, I think. But there we go. So there's a poll at the top of this live chat window, which I can't seem to access because my laptop's giving me grief. You can vote for your favourite Duran Duran album that Andy Taylor's played on. So you can choose between the first album, Duran Duran, the second album, Rio, the third album, Seven and the Ragged Tiger, and then zip forward 20 years, to Astronaut, which was the comeback album. Arena, the live album from '84, isn't there because there were only 4 options, so I went for the 4 studio albums. So vote in there, let me know what you think, and yeah. So there. So let's, while we have a brief interlude and I grab a quick drink. So what's coming up here on the channel for the regulars? Anyone who's been watching, so we had 2 impromptu live chats last week, which were great. They were really great. One was at a venue where I was doing a Queen tribute. It was sound check, except it wasn't. We hadn't set anything up, and we had a fairly great backwards and forwards live chat. You can see that here on the channel. I'll even put a link here if you want to click through to that and have a look. I will apologize in advance, anyone that watched that live chat. I've watched it the past couple of days because I've been doing the timestamps for it. It looked like playing a game. I'll say that again, I just saw my phone reconnected. It was like watching a game of Minecraft. And I'll tell you why. I was on the Wi-Fi at the venue. I didn't realise that Wi-Fi was quite as patchy as it clearly turned out to be. It was like watching Lego. It was really bad in places, but the audio's okay. So if you do watch that, you might want to just listen to it rather than watch it. But it's there. It is what it is from that day. I haven't watched the one from Saturday back. So what's coming up? So loads of YouTube shorts. I explained this last week and the week before. So YouTube are going to go into hyper promotion of YouTube shorts from January, February time. And they're going to start monetizing those shorts. So I've been producing video content for YouTube shorts, but also extracting sections out of previously uploaded long form content that I think is good for YouTube shorts. So those are daily at the moment, and they will carry on through November, December, January through to February. It might even be a thing that I do a short every day. We'll see. There's a whole load of bass and effect reviews coming, demos. There are a couple of new interviews with some bass legends. They're in the diary, but I can never guarantee that these people will definitely end up being available at that time on that day. So there's a possibility these might get shunted into the new year, because with Christmas and well, those particular bass players being quite busy. So we'll see how we go with those. And then hopefully, I'm thinking tomorrow, either tomorrow or Thursday, I'll put the next installment of the bass string experiment up. Anyone who's just come onto the channel and thinks, what the hell is he talking about? There's a series of videos here on the channel where I've strung one of my favourite basses up with a set of these Rhodes Sound swing bass steel strings, and we're going to see how long those strings last. At the moment, we've done 16 gigs, of which there are 11 videos on the channel. So we've got videos 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 still to go up. Basically, I'm on gigs. I take the bass with me to gigs. I do sound check videos and explain how the bass is sounding and how the strings are lasting, whether the tone is still there, whether they're tuning okay. And we're going to see how far they last. Personally, I think we're going to get into the 30s. They could last 40 gigs. They might last 50 gigs. Who knows? We just don't know. You never know how long a set of strings is going to last on a given bass, based on the gigs they're doing, where they're playing, how hard they play. We'll see. But like I say, at the moment, we're up to gig 16. This Friday will be gig 17. We'll be using it next week. And then we get towards Christmas. I've got ABBA shows, function shows, disco shows. So there's going to be a whole load more of those videos coming along. And then there's a whole new set of Essential Bass album videos. I may hold on to them until the new year, but we'll wait and see. So if you haven't seen any of those before, I used to write for Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player. There was a column that I had called Classic Bass Albums, and I've reformatted those and created a video series called Essential Bass Albums. So you will find Rio is on there. You'll find A Night at the Opera by Queen. You'll find Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. You'll find Lean Into It by Mr. Big. There's Paul Simon, Graceland. There's Live and Dangerous by Thin Lizzy. And I'm trying to think, there's so many on there. There's a couple of albums by Yes. There's Jamiroquai. There's Earth, Wind and Fire. Heavy Weather by Weather Report. There's a whole load of them. Anyway, it's going to be another series. So I'm working on the scripts for those, and probably going to start recording in a couple of weeks, get them edited up, and they'll be ready to go hopefully in January. So that's all good. I think there's a button here that I can show that poll. Graceland, what a jam. Exactly. Absolutely. I think it's down there, isn't it? No, it ain't that one. I thought, oh, is it that? It might be that. No, it's not that, is it? I thought there was a button on here to show me the poll, but clearly not. Not to worry. keep voting in that poll. It's at the top of the live chat window. We're asking you your favourite Andy Taylor album while he's with Duran Duran. So you can pick from any of the first 3, and then there's Astronaut, which was the comeback studio album. So let me know what your favourites are. Graceland, what a jam. Yeah, well, quite. Don't we know that? Yeah, it's a stunning album. Stunning bass playing from Bugiti Kamalu. Always try. You don't say it how it reads. So the K is kind of a G, so it's Bugiti. If you've not checked out, there's an interview with him here on the channel. I'll put a link there, I think, there. And I'll put a link in the description box as well. So that was an interview I did with him in 2016. Actually, I think that might be this week, might be the anniversary of that. When he was here playing with Paul Simon at the Royal Albert Hall in London. And we had a right old natter. I think there was about 40 or 45 minutes. But yeah, we covered a lot of ground in that interview. So it's all good. So if you're enjoying this video, please feel free to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you get notifications when I'm posting up new videos, new content. Feel free to give the video a thumbs up. That's really appreciated. All of those things help to promote the channel with the YouTube algorithm. It keeps pushing the channel forward, which means I can do better things, and it opens up new functionality for me as a creator within YouTube. And so anything that you contribute to any video, whether it's a comment, a thumbs up, hitting the subscribe button, sharing a link of a video onto your Facebook or any of your other social media outlets, it's all good. It's all good, and it's good for me, it's good for the channel. So that's fabulous. If you've not been on a live chat before, welcome. You're more than welcome. There's a live chat window. If you're on the mobile app, it's below here. And if you're on the desktop app, it's that way. There. Stick your comments and questions in there. As soon as I see them come up on the window, I'll try and reply to them immediately. If you want to get involved, feel free. That's what the live chat window is about. It's all about our interaction. And feel free to talk between yourselves. If someone posts something up and you want to respond to it, go for it. If you want to talk to them directly, put @ and their name, which you'll see here on the chat window, and you can type your response, and that's how they see it. There's a dollar symbol next to the emoji icon, which allows you to make donations to the channel. It's called Super Chat. Stacey very kindly donated $4.99 to the channel earlier on. Very much appreciated. On her birthday, no less. Thank you very much. If you want to wish Stace a happy birthday, go for it. Alternatively, if you're watching this after the event and the live chat window's closed and you want to donate to the channel or say thanks for the video, or if you're just enjoying the content here on the channel, underneath the video you'll see a row of icons. You've got thumbs up, a thumbs down, share, save, watch later. Then there's a love heart with a $sign. That's called super thanks. So on live chats, it's super chat. On a regular video, it's called super thanks. Just allows you to make a contribution, however big or however small, to the channel. That allows us to keep these channels going. Allows us to buy the technology to do all the editing and the filming and the lights and the sound. Allows us to buy natty t-shirts like this. Allows us to buy the products that we review and do demos of. Or if you've watched any of my workshop videos, and I'll put a link to some of them in the description box, I have to buy all these cleaning products and cloths and fret guards and files and various tools. Really, my garage is full with a workbench and the tools that I do for those videos. So your contributions help towards that. So if you wish to do that, you can do that on any video via super thanks, and in the live chat it's super chat, which is the dollar symbol at the bottom. So that's all how you do that. Okay, let's see. Cam Voodoo, what's that PV thing in the rack? Is it for the MIDI bass they did? No, it's not. That is a PV bass Vex, which was their effect unit round about 1992-93. They had a guitar one, which I think it was just called, it might have been called the Guitar FX. But this is the bass one. And it also came with a big, huge pedal unit to call up presets and numbers and effects. I told this story a couple of weeks ago. Maybe you didn't hear it. So I bought one of these. I was after one for years. I thought I'd love to have. I was working with a rack. If you saw the video, well, you did see the video because you were on it on Friday. So I had a rack that the Aguilar was in the other day. So I used to have a Hartkey amp that went in that rack, and I had the tuner, and that was in the rack on Friday. Then I bought one of these, and I thought, right, I'm set. Amp, effects unit, tuner, all in the rack. Lovely, great. And I spent probably 2 or 3 weeks setting up loads of patches for my covers band to try and sound a bit more authentic, like the records. Had fretless patches for when we did Call Me Al, and slap patches and some rock patches, some flanger things. And I'd spent ages. I had the manual and I was getting it all great, and I had all the effects in the right order, all named up, and I knew how to call it. If I wanted to add an octave effect, I could do that. It was great. Took it to a gig. I thought, right, we're going to see how it all goes tonight, and started doing sound check. And I was DI'd from the amp out to the system out front. But the bass was at floor level. I didn't have it raised up. And I couldn't hear any of my effects in the monitors. Couldn't hear any of my effects coming through the bass cab. And I couldn't really hear any of it coming out the front. And I was so dismayed. And I chased this unit for years. Finally got one, done all the work, and it just didn't really deliver. And that taught me that you can spend hours of your life going for perfect bass sounds in your bedroom, at home, what have you. There's no guarantee until you get on the gig. And other venues I played at with it, it sounded pretty good. But that first time was so demoralising. I don't think I've used it too much since, but it's in case. And I said this on a Facebook group, bass group, a couple of weeks back. You never know what's around the corner. You don't know what projects could suddenly just drop into your lap out of nowhere. It's happened to me so many times that now I'm very aware that anything could happen at any time. That's got loads of delays and some really quite tricky stuff going on in it. I'd rather just keep it. I wouldn't get much for it if I sold it, and you might just need it. And I've got boxes of effects over there that have been building up for years and years and years. For years I didn't use any effects, and yet in the last 18 months or so, every gig I've got a pedal board. Luck of the draw. So I don't tend to shift gear unless I think I don't like it, or B, I'm never going to use it again. So it just sits here. You know, I've got 2 wireless units here that are now illegal. I can't use them. I can't sell them because the whole wireless situation in the UK has changed. I am tempted to take one out on a gig though and see if I get caught using it, but we'll see. That's me being pesky. What we got here in the chat window? Stacey, have a fantastic birthday. See, we're nice people here on Brooksy's Bass Corner. We don't do pains in the backside. We're nice people. I hope you are having a lovely birthday, Stace. I think she may well be at work, so she's sort of just checking in now and again. But I hope you are having a lovely birthday. Over there in the US, where you will be voting. I know you've already cast your vote, but if you're out there and you're in the US today, best of luck. It's a tinderbox, isn't it? Let's be fair. We'll see what happens. You have my sympathies all round. I don't mean to sound condescending, I'm not. I just look at it as someone apart. And I'm sure you must look at our politics over here and go, what the hell's going on there? We kind of feel the same about with what's going on in the US. Yeah, it's hard to decide, isn't it? Anyway, let's not do politics. I don't generally do that. So, yeah. Yeah, Cam Voodoo, happy birthday tomorrow, sir. I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a fabulous day. And make the most of it. Make sure there's cake and there's drinks, whether you drink alcohol or not. Have a great birthday. Enjoy. Soak them up. Soak them up indeed. So this is a different live chat tonight. We're celebrating the life and work of Andy Taylor from Duran Duran. He hasn't died. He hasn't passed away. Don't worry. He's still with us. I just wanted to do this rather than after he's no longer with us. I wanted to do it before, and I wanted to give Duran fans, Andy Taylor fans, a chance to air their views, air their concerns, and yeah, it's been a funny couple of days. We, as Duran fans, we were all like really looking forward to the weekend, really excited, looking forward to them getting their awards and being inducted at last. I think for me, it was, I couldn't wait to see the band with Dom being there, and Andy and Warren. And yet Warren and Andy didn't arrive. Warren, for whatever reason, and I think we can all kind of surmise his reason for not attending. And then we heard the announcement that Andy had stage 4 prostate cancer. So yeah, it's been an odd time. Because these are people that you looked up to. They're your influences. They're, for some of us, they're the reasons we are musicians and we do what we do. Can Voodoo, I remember buying Andy's first solo album, which would have been Thunder, many moons ago now. I was listening to it today, actually. And there's some great tracks on there. He wrote that with Steve Jones from Sex Pistols, and you can hear that influence there. Some great tracks on there. But again, I always felt like I was cheated a bit, that we didn't get to hear more of him on Notorious. But obviously the situation in the band at the time, he kind of made his decision what he wanted to do. And he didn't want to be in Duran Duran, which was a shame. Because as a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid, you thought that band were going to be world beaters. Because they rode such a wave of popularity through the first half of the 80s. It was like they can't really do too much wrong. And then you learn that not every band lasts forever, which is a shame. But yeah, you know, we have the records, I have the memories, we have the videos. There's loads of bootlegs from the first 4 years of gigs. So it's there. It's there. There's loads of it on YouTube. There's a couple of sites that have almost, I think, every Duran gig as a bootleg up on their pages. Interesting listening, some of it. So worth checking out. So yeah. So I'm happy to carry on with this as long as you guys are. So keep the comments coming in. Keep the suggestions coming in. If you want to talk bass, which is what we normally do here on Brooksy's Bass Corner, you can do that as well. If you want to talk about either of these basses over my shoulder. So we have an Aria SB 1000 there. And a Kubicki X Factor, which seemed, both of them seemed rather appropriate based on tonight's subject matter. So more than happy to talk about those. If you're a Kubicki fan and you want to talk about them, feel free. If you want to talk about the the Aria, we can talk about that. And that's a bass in itself. Thankfully, this one isn't super heavy, although a little chunky, but it's good. I love it. I only got it about 9 years ago off a Aria collector. He had loads of them, and he put this one up on eBay, and I was lucky enough to win it. I gave it a bit of an overhaul a couple of years ago at the gallery here in Camden in London. Martin, John, hope you're well. And this thing sounds great. Yeah, all working. Got a few dings here and there, a few chunks out of it. One on the back, and there's a few on the edge. But you know, these basses generally have done a lot of gigs. Some people have looked after them remarkably well and kept them in their cases. But I think this was definitely a player. But it sounds great. Everything you'd expect it to be, I have to say. And I've got the original case with it as well. And yeah, certainly not disappointing. Strung with rotor sounds, of course. It wasn't when I got it. It had Ernie balls on it, but they weren't for me, I'm afraid. Let's have a look. I saw that come up. I got my MTD from the gallery. Great shot. Which MTD have you got? Enlighten me. I know you can't send photos, but engage with my audience. Can I now? Start. Answer viewer questions live. I'm going to click on something. This is a new, I haven't seen this. So it says, I can engage with my audience, which is you fine people. Start a question and answer. Answer viewer questions live. What does that do there? Oh, I see. Oh, you can stick your question. I don't think it's any different to what we do anyway. If you wish to do that, you can do that. Patrick Sweeney, areas have become very collectible recently, haven't they? Just, I didn't pay collector's prices for this, I can assure you. No, they kind of started going up around about 2015, 2016. And it's been quite eye-opening. I've seen them go for like 1,300 quid. 1,300 pounds to the American guests here. Anyone else in the world, when we say quid, we mean pounds. Yeah, haven't they? And some people had lots of them and sold them before the prices went up. Now they're kicking themselves. But I don't suspect they're going to reach wow prices, unfortunately. Shame. Cam Voodoo, not the expensive one, 5-string KZ5. Well, I'll tell you what, about 6 years ago, I did an interview. I did a review of the, what's it called? Super, it might be that, the KZ5. It was an MTD with 2 humbuckers right close together. And it was one of the best sounding basses I've ever heard. And I think it was about £800, £900. Outstanding. Outstanding. I gave it a great review because it thoroughly deserved it. It really did. So, yeah. Actually, let me see if I can... So I want to get into that poll. I can't see it. Might be because that's gone over. No, it's not that. It's that I'm trying to get to. This laptop needs changing. It's going to be a new one soon, I think. Oh, my live chat's gone. Something's gone on. Oh dear. Let me see if that comes back. So I'm still broadcasting. I'm still here. I hope you're still there. I'm assuming. Get rid of the adverts. I don't want them. Hopefully you're still there, guys. That's me playing with technology. Sorry. I'm still here. And this is still broadcasting. So I'm sorry. I've lost what was going on here on my laptop. This laptop's got to go in the bin soon, I think. Skip the ads. Hopefully you're still there. Are you still there? I hope you're still there. You are. We are still there. Oh, there you go. I started to see that poll and then it's disappeared again. Damn. The poll, from what I can see, says 60% for Rio. Thank you. It's because my laptop's due for the dustbin. There's a new one needs to come in the new year. And it's basically on a very old version of Windows. And it's just giving me some grief here. Right. You have that magazine right here. What was that model? Is it the KZ5? I did the review and I can't remember. It's actually a review that I meant to put up on my Instagram shortly. I'm going through all my old review scans. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, that's that bass. There we go. That bass was monstrous. I was in Bass Direct doing the bass reviews that day, and I didn't have to pick that up. And I thought, oh, I'll just do an MTD. We haven't done one for a while. And that bass was amazing for the price. Absolutely amazing. I think I even gave it, I think it won the best bass in that price range that year for Gear of the Year. I think. You should eat your dinner all the way through this. I'm taking that as a compliment. If I've engaged you, then that's great. I had my dinner at about 5 o'clock, so yeah, there's nothing for me here. I did say actually on the YouTube thing, bring cake, but on the Facebook invites, I said bring cake and drinks, but I can't do that because otherwise it'll look a bit odd. Chocolate cake all around your teeth is never a good look on a video. I love that base, but selling it now. Why? Is that because it's too heavy? I know you have to have a light base, don't you? But it just sounded great, really good. And for the money, I was like, wow, that's just great. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, if something's too heavy. While you're on this chat, were you on the chat? I think you were last week, and we talked about the status streamline. Cuts through a mix, nice. Yeah. Did you see the chunk we did on the status streamline last week? Because if not, I'll get that out of the gig bag. That might be something you might want to consider. There's also, yeah, I went back and watched it. Cool. Okay. There's also, I don't know if you've ever entertained the possibility, the Fender Precision Light, which obviously you can change the circuitry and the pickups, make that a lot better. But in terms of weight, it's here we go. Nonsense. Let's just get rid of them, shall we? Hot girls aren't waiting here. Do I look like a hot girl? Nope. Where was I? Yeah, Fender Precision Light. They are very light, and probably about £7, 7.5. Really light. So that might be. I know you have kind of you've gone down that Strandberg, but if you need something that's a bit more kind of traditional looking, check out Fender Precision Light. They usually are quite cheap, about 400 quid, maybe. But exceptionally light. But yeah, there we go. Stacey, hi, you've come back. I guess you are still at work. So Stacey's a hairstylist, if you hadn't gathered by her screen name. So thank you for attending. I can still see loads of people logged on here, so I'm quite happy keeping this going as long as you guys want to. So if you want to talk basses, you want to talk bass guitars, you want to talk amplifiers, bass effects, bass accessories, you want to talk about Andy Taylor, John Taylor, Duran Duran, that's what we're doing this week. You've had a haircut on your birthday. Get you. Well, that's an opportunity to wind you up. I hope they did a good job. Well, you're the hairstylist. I'm sure you tell them if they didn't. Yes, so if you want to talk basses, bass amps, bass cabs, bass effects, bass accessories, you got a problem with any bass gear, your guitar's not doing what it should, doesn't sound how it should, you can't decide on changing your strings, you don't know what strings to put on, you want to talk Andy Taylor, John Taylor, Duran Duran, you want to talk about anything here on the bass channel, reviews, demos, interviews, essential bass albums, workshop videos. Have you checked out the workshop video I put up a couple of weeks ago for my Status Empathy? Where it basically got a much needed overhaul. Hadn't had its strings changed in over 2 years. It'd done loads of gigs and it was grotty and it needed changing and it needed some TLC before it started getting filmed for the Bass String Experiment series. So you got any question about that, stick it in the live chat window. So if you're on the mobile app, it's below. If you're on the desktop app, it's that way. And stick your comments, your questions in there. I'll respond to them as soon as I see them pop up. Anything referred to in this video, in this live chat, links are in the description box below. Not yet, they'll be there tomorrow once this live stream is processed and uploaded onto YouTube. And then tomorrow I can go into the description box and add everything that's been referenced on tonight's live chat. If you want to attend these live chats going forward and you're enjoying the chat we do here, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. UK time, which is 2 p.m. East Coast time in the US, 11 a.m. on the West Coast, Pacific time. And if you want to catch up on any of the previous live chats, feel free. They're all there to be watched in the video section. They're also in their own unique playlist, which is called Live Chat. So if you go on the front page, it's all kind of options So you've got about, videos, community, playlists. And if you want to communicate other than on the videos, you can send comments on any of the videos. You can also contact me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. There's also a community page here on YouTube, which is YouTube's version of social media. So I try to post on there almost every day. Sometimes if I'm away from home, I might not. Just depends. But there's stuff on there fairly regularly. So if you want to keep up with those messages, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. And on the notification bell, select all. And you'll see all those community posts. You can actually go in there and see all the old posts as well. If you want to give them a thumbs up and a like, that's greatly appreciated. You don't have to, but the option's there if you wish to do so. Can voodoo if you want to look later. What's that? What, big girls here for fun? No, I've blocked them. They're not coming back. Yeah. No, I'm all right. Cup of tea in my slippers and watch Great British Bake Off later. That's probably my evening. You know, rock and roll. I was doing all my rock and roll last week, you see. You were there on the live chat, Can Voodoo. You were there. Which was us doing the Queen tribute gigs, which were a lot of fun. Apart from for anyone who didn't attend Saturday's impromptu live chat, I explained that on my way from the second gig last week at the Drill over to Burton upon Trent from Saturday's gig, an idiot who may have been drunk, on drugs, or was looking at his phone or doing something else, ploughed into the side of my car and wiped my driver's side wing mirror out completely. Bizarrely, there was no other damage on the car, but he must have been driving fairly close to wipe the wing mirror out. And now it means one of the gigs I did last week of the 3 was for free, because I've got to pay for a whole new wing mirror and sort the electrics out and stuff, which is great. I love doing gigs for free. He didn't stop. I didn't get his number plate, so I can't claim on the insurance. But there we go. Karma will get him. I hope. I put a link to a vid of your MTD in the chat, but it must have not allowed a URL to be posted in the chat. Normally links are okay, I think. I haven't got them turned off. Put it in again. Put it in again. Could have been that nonsense with the big girls of fun. Might have just wiped out your post. Put it in again. Little slapperoo there. No, it's not showing up, is it? I wonder what's doing that. I don't think there's any. Let me have a look on the phone. But it's not appearing on the. Nah, it's not showing there, mate. Sorry about that. I don't know. See, the thing with YouTube also is that things change very quick all the time. And functionality that you might have had previously suddenly gets changed. So it could well be that they've put that in. I don't know. I'll check it out later. When I go back watching this tomorrow, doing the timestamps, I'll do a Google. Actually, I can tell myself, Mike, when you're going through this video, go on Google and check to see if YouTube now don't allow links in the live chat. I'm telling myself. There you go. So there we have it. So if you have ventured on here from a Facebook Duran Duran page or a Duran Duran group, or you've come in from Instagram or Twitter, welcome. You're very welcome here. This is Brooksy's Bass Corner. I'm Mike Brooks. This is normally a bass guitar channel and a bass guitar live chat that we do every Tuesday. This week, we're talking Andy Taylor and Duran Duran, following Andy's announcement of his stage 4 prostate cancer. He hasn't died. He's still with us, alive and kicking. having seen the guy professionally over 42 years, very much alive and kicking. He won't be going without a fight. So if you're a Duran fan, feel free to get involved in this live chat. There's a poll running. Vote for your favourite studio album that Andy recorded with Duran Duran. Any comments or questions, stick them in the live chat window. If you're on the mobile app, it will be below this video window. If you're on the desktop, it's that way. And I'll reply to it as soon as I see it. Patrick, how do you find gig life and home life? As in, one is pure adrenaline, the other for me is an escape from the madness and a chance to recharge. Yeah, it's become more of the case as I've got older. To be honest, I've been really busy since we came out of lockdown. And the funny thing was, lockdown was so unexpected. None of us prepared for it, really, in terms of playing. And what I noticed was all the little aches and pains I had in my fingers and my elbows and forearms, back, legs, hips, all went. And they've all come back. And some of them came back from doing YouTube, being sat in a chair, doing video editing and filming all the time. But I enjoy the madness too. I enjoy playing. Playing for me is what I do. It's what I'll do until I'm probably 75, if I get that far. I just enjoy performing, being on a stage, playing music. It's what I do. I'm really grateful that YouTube has now given me another outlet, and I'm pushing for this to be something for the rest of my life. And I should have done this long ago, but none of us, until we got into lockdown, had ever had this amount of free time. So to do YouTube properly takes a lot of time, a lot of commitment. And I became very aware after 3 months, we weren't going to be getting back out and gigging. I just thought, do you know what? You haven't got this time again. Make use of it. Do something worthwhile. So that's why I set the YouTube channel up. I've thought about it for ages, but never had the time and looked into it. And that, those of us who gig, we don't generally. We're so busy all the time, chasing gigs, learning stuff, rehearsals, traveling. Just there's always stuff to do. Day-to-day stuff, walking the dog, cooking your dinner, hoovering the house. There's always stuff to do. And until we had that break, no one had a break like that. But then coming back out, I'll be honest, I did a gig in September 2020, the only gig I did during lockdown. And I was expecting to feel euphoric and really excited from having done that gig, and I didn't. It wasn't the gig's fault or the band's fault. There was just no excitement in it for me. I just didn't. I remember driving home from that gig thinking, I'm more interested in working out what I'm going to do on my next YouTube video than where my next gig comes from. And at that point, none of us knew if we would get to do any more gigs. And thankfully, since I've come out of lockdown, all the gigs I've done with all the bands I've played with have been so much fun and enjoyable that the thought of not doing this, that's not going to happen. I've got to do this. I love doing this. And the YouTube is the extra thing. That's now the extra part of my my work. So for the first 6 months of this year, I didn't produce very much. I was so busy learning stuff. I had a hard drive go down. Other things in life took priority. As we came into the summer, all the things that I was going to be performing with, I'd already done all the learning, the prep, everything was good. So I've had more time, and anyone that looks on the channel, you'll see there's far more videos now than there were the first 6 months of this year. The past 4 or 5 months, it's been a lot busier, and that's the way it needs to be sort of from this point going forward. So I'm trying to plan as much ahead as I possibly can. Can Voodoo, your disco band looks fun, Patrick. His disco band or mine? Oh, his one. Right. My disco band's fun as well. I play with Uncle Funk's Disco Inferno. We're back out this Friday. After we've had 6 weeks off. Singer went on holiday for 2 weeks. And then there weren't any gigs in the diary. And once we come out of festival season, it all kind of dies off, and we end up doing private bookings and corporate events and stuff. But yeah, we get back out this week, and it's quite busy through December. So I've got ABBA, Uncle Funk, some pub stuff, a couple of Queen gigs, So it's quite kind of busy. Haven't got a New Year's Eve gig at the moment though. So if you hear anyone needs a bass player for New Year's Eve in the UK, I'm available. Both look great. The last band I was in was all disco, great but intense. Bass player's role, my friend. We keep the whole thing moving along. Take the bass out of disco band, it's patchy at best. But so much of that material is based around what the bass guitar does. You know, that's the deal. That's the ticket. But it's great fun. For years, I always wanted to be in a disco band, or at least be like a regular dep in one. And when this band had a change of personnel just before lockdown, I was asked if I'd like to do it. I said, yes, please. It'd be great fun. And we have a great time. It's a good band. 9-piece show band. So it's all good. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, if you go onto my videos, if you go to the bass string experiment, go to videos 7, 9, 10, you'll see that band that I'm talking about in action. You can't hear us. I've had to put a different audio track on because otherwise I risk copyright strikes and what have you. But yeah, you'll see the sort of gigs we do, and they're great fun. We have a great time. Yeah, very good for chops. Well, isn't that the truth? Although, I'll be honest, I tend not to do much of that. I tend to just keep the whole thing anchored because we're a 9-piece band. So there's bass, 3 lead vocals, and then 3 backing vocals. Guitar, keys, drums, horns. If the bass, for me, starts going into chop territory, it can start to get a bit messy. So, or you got to pick your spot really well. Just found a dead spot on this area. That'll be going in the workshop next week. Brooksy's workshop, which is in the garage. Whoa, 15th fret. That's a crack of that. It's definitely that one because the rest are all fine. Oh no, I'm there. 18th and 15th. That's worse. Have to get the old fret files out, get that sorted out. I always have trouble remembering the middle section of Le Freak. I think it's because you're so exposed. Well, all you have to remember, if you're playing it in concert as on the record, it's A over D. We play it in G, so it's G over C. The joy that you have there is if it's in A over D, you play those as open strings. So it's oh. And then there's the second riff. I can't do that. I don't have the open strings. It's G over C for me, so I have to fret that first note, which is always a great load of fun. But we do it just to help with the vocal for the male singer. So and all of that. So you should be fine with that. Just remember, use the open strings. Don't fret the note. That's the whole reason he does that. And the other thing is, by playing them as open rather than fretted notes, your next part of the line mutes that. There you go. You do it in concert as part of a medley. Good stuff. With what? With what? We do it as a standalone song, usually finishes the first set. There's so much sheep in our set that you got to spread them out a bit. I'm interested, what do you do it as a medley with? So I'm noodling. Did this the other day. Get me noodling, whatever you do. We do it in concert part for medley. Stacey's gone for tea, clearly. Birthday tea. car wash and Lady Marmalade. So what key do you do car washing? Because that's in D. Okay, yeah, right, that works. Lady Marmalade's in G. Are you doing Lady Marmalade upper tone? While you're doing that, I'll have a quick drink. Ah, there you are. Yeah, I think we've lost most of the Duran fraternity. They were here for about the first hour and a bit, and they've all gone. Anyone out there? And there's a song. Anyone from the Duran Facebook pages and groups, make yourselves known in the live chat window. Play car wash since I was 17, still love it. I do. We play it in C, again for the male singer. Yeah, love it. That's the fella. Yeah. Gets people dancing, gets people involved. We start a second set with it, get them doing all the clapping. But to be honest, you can play car wash anywhere in the set and it'll go well. Lady Marmalade in F sharp. Woo! Well, it's patterns more than anything. Yeah, here we go. Disco classics. I realise you guys can't see below. I can't, otherwise I don't fit in the window and my head gets chopped off. So sorry you can't see me playing this. I'd have to push the camera further back and then it just looks a bit, you see all the mess down this side. That's not really the deal. Yeah, we started doing You Should Be Dancing. Yeah. Do you know what? When the old lineup of Uncle Funk was doing its thing, that got pulled into the set in about 2018 as part of a Bee Gees medley. I've played it for years in various bands. They're always a winner. Actually, any of the Bee Gees stuff from Saturday Night Fever is pretty good. Pretty good. I know Guy Pratt doesn't think much of them, but they knew how to write a tune. Look at the bank balance. Yep. Yeah, You Should Be Dancing is a guaranteed floor filler. Although if you've got a male lead singer that might need a pair of nutcrackers before you go on, just get the going, which is no bad thing. So yeah, if there's any more Duran fans, Andy Taylor fans out there, and you're here watching live chat, make yourselves known on the live chat, because we've kind of seeped into bass chat now, which is fine. I'm more than happy to do that. We can do that as long as you like. Guy Pratt's disco bass lines, well, quite, yes. We've heard them, haven't we? Yeah. Yeah. That's it. I've seen Guy get immensely irate with people who didn't deserve for him to get irate with them. So, yeah. Talking to Guy, I'm learning one slip tomorrow for a band. What's one slip? I don't know. If that's anything to do with Pink Floyd, I know nothing about Pink Floyd other than Brick in the Wall, Money, and that's probably about it. Pink Floyd aren't one of my bands, sadly. A bit like Led Zeppelin, in a different generation. I've never got into Pink Floyd at all. Part of that could well be laziness. But, no, there was just nothing about Pink Floyd track. Tony Levin was on it originally. Oh, cool. I salute your learnings. Keep going, young man. Actually, you telling me you learned You Can't Blame Lewis last week? Waiting for the reply. I think it was when we were talking on Friday. Yeah. So did you learn Return of the Handsome Rugged Man? Because I set that for your homework. And if you got that down in those past 4 days, I'm impressed. Do you know the track? Have you heard it before? It's a tricky line. I am sure there are two bass lines going on within that track at the same time. No, but I will have a gander. Yes, I have loved it. Good. Cool. Well, that is a Mark King tour de force, that song. So yeah, if you can get that together, I'll be mightily impressed. I think I probably learned to play it in about 1996. It's one of those things. I used to spend hours and hours and hours learning Mark King slap stuff. You never use it. Never use it. I rarely do any slapping. You always want it there in your arsenal in case you need it or you got to call upon it. But just it's so rare. Even in a disco band, the only slap bit I do is car wash, that bit. And then there's a couple of bits in Feel the Force where I might just go from fingers to slap, but usually I don't. So yeah, crazy. You think in a disco band there'd be loads of slapping. Actually, there was a guy I asked to debt for once. He said, "Oh, I can't slap." I said, "Well, you don't need to. There's no slap in it." I said, "There's a fill-in car wash. You can play it with fingers if you want." I'm enjoying this immensely while working. Well, I'm pleased to offer you the entertainment, Stace. Excellent. You played the Mark King version of Breakout, Swing Out Sister. Yeah, that Prince's Trust performance sounds great. I had the opportunity to buy that well bass that he uses, the MB1, which is his MIDI bass. So he had that and he used it on Guaranteed on Lasso the Moon with a Little Love. And I think there's one other one there. Can't remember. And that was part of the collection that he put into the Bass Centre in 1997, July 97. And someone on the Level 42 Digest, as it was back then, messaged to say, "Oh my God, Mark King's put all of his basses and amps into the Bass Centre. They're up for sale." We all thought that was him retiring, which at the time could have been, because Level 42 had stopped and Mark hadn't really shown any inclination to get started again. What he was doing was downsizing. He was just clearing loads of gear out. And when I went to the Bass Centre a couple of days later, basically it was a pick of what was left, and some really nice stuff had gone. The Star Child was there. They kept hold of that, and it stayed in a glass case. Eventually sold to Morgan, I think, for about $6.5 grand. Morgan being the guy that runs the level42.com. And there was a really nice State of Sympathy that Rob Steed, I think, Irish guy. Hi Rob, if you're watching, I don't know if you do. Irish guy, really nice. He bought that. He might have bought something else. The 5-string State of Sympathy that was on If You Were Mine, was on the Town and Country Club live. That was there, battered. I mean, it had chips and dings all out of it. Didn't sound very nice. Didn't play great either. There were a couple of alembics. One of them was a long scale Coca-Cola, which was about $4 grand. There was a load of amplification. The Mesa Boogie stuff was there. The fretless, the Moon fretless was there. And that got bought by an American guy called Don Ziff, who sadly passed away, I think about 10 years ago or so. I think there's one or two others. And then there was the Stingray, 4-string Stingray that got used on Guaranteed, Forever Now and Trash. And I bought that. There was nothing exceptional about it. There was nothing special. It hadn't been made for him or anything. Just a general standard production model. It was great. Probably the only bass I've ever regretted selling, to be honest. It was truly outstanding. Did loads of gigs with it. I got made a really nice offer on it and I took it. So there we go. I play... oh yes, we're up to date with the messages. Yes, that Prince's Trust 89, there's some great bass tones, both from the alembics and the wow. And actually, I really loved John Farnham on that show. It was great. It was funny that year. Prince's Trust had always been like a mixture of performers and stuff. And then it was all kind of, George Martin was in charge and he picked Level 42 to be the house band. And that was fine and great. But I didn't think the choice of singers and performers was that hot. It's a shame. Maybe they'd overdone the supergroup thing. I always preferred the 86, 87, 88 shows. But the 89, shame you can't buy that DVD. It was out. I think it was a Japanese only release, but I don't have it. I think I've got it on video from telly. But yeah, Mark Zalembic sounded great on that. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. So we're on 2 hours and 50 minutes, which is pretty good for a live chat. That's the longest we've ever done here. Again, I'll say it again. I can go as long as you guys want to and are happy to. If you have stumbled across teeth in. If you stumbled across this live chat and you're thinking, what the hell is going on? This is Brooksy's Base Corner. I'm Mike Brooks. This is my channel. We do live chats every Tuesday at 7 p.m. here in the UK. We talk basses, we talk amps, bass effects, bass accessories, bass players, bass legends, bass gods, your favourite bass albums. You got problems with your equipment? I'm talking guitars, not your body. Fire it in the live chat window. If I can help or offer some advice, I'm more than happy to do so. I've got 35 years playing experience, 27 as a pro. I've done over 4,000 professional gigs. Chances are, if you've got a problem with some gear, I've probably experienced it at some point. If I can help, I'm more than willing to do so. That's what I'm here for. Tonight's live chat is slightly different. It's a special live chat celebrating the life of Andy Taylor of Duran Duran, celebrating Duran Duran. Andy hasn't died, he hasn't passed away, but he has announced he's got stage 4 prostate cancer. It's terminal. There's no cure for it. We don't know how long Andy's got, but I wanted to open up this live chat to Duran fans, to Andy Taylor fans, to celebrate the guy. He was a huge influence on me, huge influence on lots of musicians of my vintage. So if you want to talk about Duran Duran, talk about Andy Taylor, you want to talk about John Taylor, you want to go back to bass, you want to talk about basses, bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, bass pedals, anything about bass or Duran Duran or Andy Taylor, stick it in the live chat window and I'll respond to it as soon as I see it. If you've never done a live chat before, there's a live chat window below this on the mobile app, and that way, if you're on the desktop, you'll see in the live chat there's an emoji icon which you can click on, contribute emojis to the chat. You can also contribute financially to the channel and the running costs of the channel and the equipment for doing the videos and all of this stuff that you see behind me. All of this has to be paid for when we do reviews and demos and what have you. So if you want to contribute financially, you can hit that $ that's in the live chat window, just like Stacey did earlier, contributed $4.99. And that helps with the running of the channel. If you don't want to do it, or you're watching the live chat after the event, you can still contribute by hitting the super thanks button, which is on the row of icons below the video window. So you've got the thumbs up, thumbs down, the share arrow, save, clip. There's one also that's love heart with a $ that's called super thanks. Click on that. You can contribute to the channel via any video here on Brooksy's Base Corner. That's how we roll. That's how we roll. I still haven't had my first payment from YouTube, but I did set a fairly high boundary, so I'm not paying £8 in exchange fees every time I get paid. So we monetized almost a year ago, and I still haven't had a penny. There's money going into the AdSense account, but I've had no payout. But there we are. Let's see. I played the Mark King version of Break It. Yeah, the one with Mick Karn on it is great. That's the 88, level 42. And Mark and Mike couldn't get involved in that one because they were recording Staring at the Sun at that time. But it was great to see Brian May and John Deacon on that. But Mick Karn played a blinder that first set. Really good. And funnily enough, I talked to Nathan East about that a couple of times. I was doing, don't know if I did a live chat. It might have been, but it certainly wasn't a full interview. And I said to him, that bass that's over your shoulder. I know, it was part of the Yamaha. I had to do we did a advertorial piece for Yamaha in, what magazine? It was Bass Guitar Magazine at that point. Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player, and he was sat there in his office and he had the bass from that Prince's Trust show over his shoulder, and I said, I know what that is. I said, that's your 5-string Yamaha that you used at the Royal Albert Hall in '88. He went, how do you know that? I said, because I watched that gig hundreds of times. I said, actually, you used it a lot in that period. He said, that was my favourite 5-string that I had. He said, I was waiting for the 6s. I don't think the 6s, he started using the 6 at that point. But he was waiting for those to be built. And he had like a cherry sunburst 6 and then the white one as well. But that was his favourite 5. It was great. But I think he said something about the string spacing. Either it was too narrow or it was too wide. I'll have it in my notes anyway, for those who care. Great chat tonight, Mike, and everyone else. I'll bid you all good night. Patrick, take care of yourself, and love and best wishes to your sister. Hope we get some positive outcomes there. Keep me abreast as things develop. Take care of yourself. Hopefully see you next Tuesday. There may be impromptu chats later this week when I start doing gigs. If you're gigging this week, have a good one. Enjoy. Thank you very much for attending. Always appreciated. Thank you for your input. So cool. I can see there's 6 people watching. So we can certainly carry on nattering. That's no problem. But yeah. So it's a two-way thing with the live chats. It requires you guys to comment, pose questions, ask for advice if it's bass stuff. If I can help, I'm more than happy to do so. Can't always guarantee I can answer every question, but I'll try. We had a guy on Friday ask me what was the minimum requirement to do rock gigs in a live venue, because he wanted to buy an amp and a cab and he didn't know what to buy or how much to spend or what he needed. And he asked my advice on the minimum he could get away with power-wise and cabinet-wise. So I helped the guy out. And he hasn't come back to say what he's bought, so maybe he's taken my words of wisdom and he's gone to consider what his options are. But I think he's looking at probably a 300 watt amp minimum, and then depending on where he's playing in the band, I think you're looking at a minimum of like a 2x12 cabinet or a 4x10. And I suggested to him if he could go modular, i.e. with a company that does different size cabinets and stuff, and it all stacks easily and nicely. There's nothing to stop you buying one cab, buy an extra cab further down the line, and then you can augment that setup. For example, if you bought a 4x10, buy a second cab that was a 210, and then on gigs where you need a bit of extra presence, some more clarity, you've got a 410 and a 210. Maybe you're doing a gig where there isn't room for a big cab, or you don't need to be that loud, just take the 210. That's always an option. So the other possibility is to buy 2 210s, and you've got, you're using 2 connections of 2 cabs, but you've then got a 1 410 in the shape of 2, or you can just pick and choose taking 1 cab if you wish to do that. Cam Voodoo, I watched the heck out of that Clapton concert with Nathan and Phil Collins on it. The August tour, I believe. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. See, now that wasn't that 86. So that would have been a couple of years before. But the thing I was talking about was the Eric Clapton, Dire Straits, Elton John supergroup on the Prince's Trust 88. They also did, there was a big gig, and it was not the Mandela gig, it was something else that happened that, maybe that was 90. But there were so many gigs that got shown on TV and stuff from like Wembley Stadium, and there was a gig, I don't think it was Mandela, I think it was something else. And Dire Straits were on it, and I think Nathan was on it, not John Illsley. And I think they played Brothers in Arms. I'm sure if I Google it, I'll find it all out. And yeah, but I mean, Nathan was here so much at that point. I've said to him many times, you should have bought property here. A, you'd have made an absolute fortune, but you'd saved you a fortune in hotel bills. He spends loads of time here. He does usually send me a WhatsApp message if he's around. He has actually asked to borrow a couple of basses on occasion, but then we've never been able to sort of hook up to facilitate that. Is that the one where they went from Another One Bites the Dust into Good Times? What we're talking about? Was that on the Clapton concert? If it was, I don't know that. I haven't seen that. Don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I need more context. I need more context, man. I don't know which gig you're talking about. I'm trying to remember what the gig was in aid of. I think we're probably talking about the same thing. There were loads of them. There was Mandela, and then there was Mandela 2, which was 1990. Yeah. But there were loads of other things, and I'm just wondering if it was something else. Yeah. We can carry on that discussion next week if you want to come on the live chat next week. I'll have done my research. I'm sure if I go into Google and search for Wembley Stadium shows in 1988, 89, 90 and 91, I'll find a list somewhere. And as soon as I see it, I'll know it. It certainly wasn't the Nebworth gig. It was something else. But there was a Wembley thing. And it was the Dire Straits, Clapton, Elton John supergroup. And I know around that time, Elton John said, I'm sick of doing these. He says, as much as I love the guys and we're all great friends and whatever, he said, it is getting a bit boring. So they just kept rolling out the same hits. So it's Layla, In the Air Tonight, your pick of Elton John single at the current time, Behind the Mask, Money for Nothing, and Brothers in Arms. It was always the same list of songs, pretty much. Yeah, we've broken the 3-hour threshold. This is a first. We're in new territory for Brooksy's Bass Corner here. YouTube will love this, by the way. A 3-hour live chat. If you're listening, YouTube, give the channel a push. Yeah. Well, that's our homework for next week. Then you get Return the Handsome Rugged Man learnt, and I'll do the research on the gig that we're trying to remember. Sounds like a good deal to me. So this is a milestone. It is. The longest live chat was last Friday. That was the one at Soundcheck at the Drill in Lincoln. This is we're breaking milestones here. The one I'm thinking of is, I think, Atlantic 40th anniversary. Do you know what? That could well be it. That could well be it. Good call. I'm sure if there's a list somewhere of all the gigs that have happened at Wembley Stadium, we go in and we look through the summers of 88, 89, 90 and 91. We'll find it. The brain's not as agile as it was when I was 20, you know. It's trying to remember those years. There were so many gigs and they were always on telly. Which makes you wonder how people, well, gig tickets then were like 16, 20 quid. It wasn't so expensive to go to those sort of things. And you wondered why people were going if it was all on the telly, but they did. This bass is out of tune, by the way. I apologise. Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you a good bass sound while we're talking gigs at Wembley Stadium. Simple Minds played both of the Mandela concerts, and on the second one, their bass player, Malcolm Foster, had a Series 2 Alembic, which had one of the most amazing sound. I remember sat there watching it on the telly going, I can't believe the sound he's getting out of that. And I'd already become accustomed to what Alembics were about because of Mark King and his tones. And the sound Malcolm Foster got out of that was astounding. And I bumped into Mel Gaynor a couple of months back on a festival. He was playing with Light the World. And we were talking about Malcolm and his bass collection. He said, man, he had some amazing sounding basses. He said, and he pretty much sold all of them. He didn't keep much, and he relocated to New Zealand about 10, 15 years ago. So, yeah, Malcolm Foster, if you're out there, a big influence, sir. I applaud you. I'm noodling again. Sorry. I'll stop that. I'm not sure how many of us are left. It says 4 people are logged in and watching. So the numbers have dropped a little, but I'm cool with that because it's friendly people. So yeah. We can talk bass. Go for it, man. You want to talk Mark King? Let's do that. We got into a real level 42 fest last week, and I wish I'd carried on because the conversation was really going for it. So yeah, if you want to start all that up, I'm your man. I'm very aware that the time is getting late here in the UK, but in America it's 5 o'clock or 2 o'clock, depending where you are. Stacey, did you just donate $20? Goodness me, thank you very much. It's your birthday. I should be buying you something. Look at that. Woo. Thank you. I do appreciate it. I'll reciprocate the favour once your channel's up and running. Thank you. On your birthday, you shouldn't be spending on me. Thank you. I do appreciate it, you know. I tell you, that's how Super Chat works. That's how it works, boys and girls. It is a great day. It is a great day. Your birthday, my live chat. Thank you, Mundo Football. You're still there. I know how live chats work. Sometimes people put them on and carry on with their lives, and it's great. I don't expect you to watch every second. It's great. Thank you. Does anyone boil strings? Hey, I used to boil strings when I was younger because you just couldn't afford to keep replacing strings. I stopped doing it because I got a string deal. And the thing with boiling strings is you only get life for about another gig or 2 out of them. And I actually had one set that I boiled, put back on the bass, and it sounded great for playing and stuff. And about 3 months later, they went all rusty. They're horrible. And they started to sort of fall apart a bit. So I kind of stopped doing that. Yeah, I don't say don't do it. For some people, it's a necessary evil. Usually what I find is I get to a point where the strings just die. They go from being all right to and they're gone. It's like playing a bit of spaghetti. And at that point, that's when I normally take them off. Even when I get to the point they're on an active bass with a good EQ, and they are now dead. They're gone. But we will see how they go on the bass string experiment, because I've said the only reason for changing them on that empathy is if a string snaps or the tuning stability goes. For all I know, those strings could last up to like 70 or 80 gigs. I suspect they won't, because it would look a bit unprofessional of me to be turning up with strings that just don't cut the mustard. We will see. But the other thing, aside from boiling strings, is a little trick. And I think I've talked about it before on a live chat, but basically there's a guy out there called Marlo DK, who was one of the first sort of bass pioneers on YouTube. Great guy, great player. I've never spoken to him. I think he's Danish. From Denmark, I think. And he did a little video about 10 years ago. So basically, the reason strings die, well, there's a number of reasons, but one of the main reasons strings die is all the grease and oil and skin and crap off your fingers goes into the strings. Now, where it goes into the strings, well, you need to be a scientist and be looking and what have you. But he came up with a way that breathed new life into a set of really dead strings. He's got a video of him playing a Stingray. It sounds dead as anything. And then what he does is each string, I don't know how much you can see, guys. So he just plucks the string a lot, hard and fast. And I think he does a close-up and you see all the crap falling out. And when he stops, you see it all on the body. Basically, it's the oil, dead skin, all of that stuff. And you do it for each string, and then he goes back and he compares what the sound was like before to what it's like after. And it sounds like a brand new set of strings. Now, I'm not convinced that that's going to last for loads of gigs. You can't reactivate a set of strings. But it does sound like a Stingray with a new set of strings on. It sounded great. I was like, oh, okay, this might be something in there. Obviously, you can use coated strings if you like. Personally, I just get to a point where strings just, you might do that and they sound fresh, but are they going to be stable for tuning? That's the acid test. That's the first one I've ever done. What, a 20 pounder? Yeah, I appreciate it. You know I do. Thank you very much. That's right. I find teeth in. I find the D'Addario nickels better the second time on the bass. That's not English, mate. I don't get that. I find the D'Addario nickel better the second time on the bass. With the greatest of respect, that reads like gibberish. Explain yourself, young man. I don't know what that means. Or better the second time. What do you mean, that you like the tone when you've boiled them and put them on again? Is that what you mean? Maybe. That was indeed a nonsense. I'm harsh with people because I have an A-level in English, and having been a writer, when you get things like that, it's like, has he just copied and pasted a sentence from somewhere else and it's crossed over 2 sentences? I don't know. Yes, the first super chat. Hey, do you mean that's the first super chat you've done on under Style by Stacey Ann? Is that what you meant? You did one earlier. Oh, that is what you meant. Yes, the one you did earlier was the first one you've done with your YouTube profile. There you go. You see, it'll all come back to you when you start doing your live chats. Although why they're going to want a bass player from England on a hairdresser's YouTube, I've got no idea. But I will contribute to your channel. Don't worry. It'll be reciprocated. I'm now waiting for Can Voodoo to better explain what he was saying. Oh dear. Yes, once I've gigged them, taken them off and boiled them, I actually prefer the sound. Cool. There's something about playing a set strings in. A lot of people don't like the brand new sound, and sometimes I have this odd sticky feeling. I've noticed it across different brands. And then when you start sweating, it's like another level of stickiness. But yeah, that'll be a first. What's that? What, when you do your first live chat? Yeah, it will. I'm looking forward to that, because I can't wait to learn how to cut a fringe. And how to do a blue rinse for Mrs. Reynolds at number 3. That's it. I think everyone in the house is going to bed. No, dog's asleep on the sofa. I think everyone else has gone to bed. It's an early shutdown here at Base Corner Towers this evening. I tried those neon DR strings, really didn't like them at all. No, the neon part is obviously a bit of a gimmick, and that's fine. People are entitled to have that. I think it's ages since I tried. Actually, last time I would have tried DR strings was when I did my string thing back in 2015, when I went through loads of different brands and different styles and different materials, and plumped for rotor sound. So that would have been the last time I tried DR strings. Yes, it will be a first for a bassist on a hairstylist live chat. There you go. I could be that man, you see. Yeah, here we are. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. We've done 3¼ hours. We could carry on. The wife is calling me. She wants to watch Andor. Quite right too. I kind of gave up after episode 6 because my Disney subscription ran out. But I wasn't impressed with the first 5. Number 6 was a bit better. I will let you go. Have a great evening. Thank you for your input this evening. Very much appreciated. Hopefully see you next Tuesday on the live chat, but keep your eyes open. There might be some at the weekend. On that note, I think we're going to wind this down as it's getting late here in the UK. I will thank each and every one of you that's watched in tonight, contributed to the live chat, contributed to the super chats. Thank you to Stacey for the payments. That is just amazing. On your birthday as well. Duran fans, Andy Taylor fans, thank you for coming in and taking part. If you're watching this after the event, you can still get involved by leaving comments below the video window. And thank you very much for getting involved. Any comments you leave, I will deal with when they come up and come through. And on that note, I will bid you farewell. Have a great week, what's left of it. Look forward to hopefully seeing you again here on Brooksy's Base Corner on a Tuesday at 7 o'clock. We're doing these live chats up until December the 6th. After that, we'll take a short break for a couple of weeks while Christmas happens, and we'll come back in January and do another load. So thank you to everyone who has got involved tonight, messaged, subscribed, thumbed up the video, left comments. It's all very much appreciated. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week. I will catch you next week, and there will be video content going up throughout the week, so keep checking back. Take it easy. All the best. Bye-bye.